Yo, what's going on, guys? Happy Thursday. I'm gonna try to be on here really brief, nothing too long, because Golden Boy on their YouTube, possibly the Zone, Golden Boy is hosting Thursday night fights, and there's this guy named Darius DFG Volgum fighting this dude named Vaughn, the Animal Alexander. So make sure you guys hop on over to YouTube, Golden Boy Boxing. Again, it might be on the Zone. I'm not exactly too sure. But regardless, there's some fights. Looks like he's co-promoting with Miguel Cotto, or he's got a couple of Miguel Cotto fighters on this card as well. But I'm looking forward to it, man. I thought Lester Martinez versus Carlos Gongora was on this card, but I guess it might be tomorrow on Pro Box. Not exactly too sure, man. But I was watching this interview on Mill City Boxing. Honestly, it's not even an interview because they're not really asking and rebuttaling back, and like they're not really asking good substantial questions to Bill Haney. And Bill Haney has some horrible takes and just some horrible angles in this topic of conversation, man. It's just horrible. And what I mean by that is, like, let me just let you guys hear this segment real quick. You guys can watch it on your own.
If you go to East Oakland and you go in my neighborhood, they won't know who Oscar De La Hoya is. Okay? You know what I'm saying? They won't know who Eddie Hearn is.
So apparently that's a flex. Honestly, who cares about Oakland or people from East Oakland? I'm not trying to be offensive, but when it comes down to the sport of boxing or sports in general, the Oakland A's are leaving. Golden State Warriors went to San Francisco. The Oakland Raiders went to Las Vegas. Is East Oakland and their representation, do they even buy pay-per-views? Is there a big Oakland boxing fan base that that Oscar needs them? Does Oscar and Eddie Hearn need to cater to Oakland? No, they don't. They're too busy making side shows and burning out their own city. That's why all the sports teams left. That's why Tesla left. They might have came back. Like, who cares about East Oakland in that aspect? I'm not saying the people or anything, but when it comes down to the sport of boxing, Oscar don't need them. They never needed them. You see? So Bill, and then he goes on to say a lot of dumb stuff. So obviously Bill and Devin are a little salty towards Oscar De La Hoya, because in Oscar De La Hoya's Instagram, he basically rebutted. He basically stated that, he doesn't condone drug cheats. He starts talking about how Canelo Alvarez got a 6-month suspension. Shane Mosley, when he busted for designer drugs with Balco, he didn't serve any suspension, but Ryan gets a year. So he just talks about the inconsistencies. You guys might have seen that live on De La Hoya's IG page. And then he goes and tells Devin Haney, like, dude, you can do an audit on my company. You've already been paid. Fuck you, right? So Devin feels the type of way, and so does Bill Haney, right? Devin will go on to say, blah, 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 pay me the rest of my money, right, that you owe me. You're trying to save face, like that $1 million that Ryan had to pay you back isn't going directly to you. First and foremost, if I'm not mistaken, probably Golden Boy put the money up front, not on a purse bid. He paid you guys your guaranteed with, I don't know, gates and pay-per-view and sponsorship money coming in the back end, right? Just like Devin Haney didn't, or Devin Haney Promotions Company didn't do a purse bid and allow Top Rank for his performance and fight against Sandor Martin, I'm pretty sure Bill Haney or Ryan Garcia, I'm pretty sure both of them didn't put money up for their own fight. I'm sure Golden Boy had to put up upfront money as they were the main promoters, right? And Bill feels, see, Bill is supposed to keep it true. He's supposed to be always truth-seeking and revealing. And Bill, for a really long time, we saw, his true colors when Bernard Hopkins G-checked him, right? Bill was hiding behind security. He got all nervous, because Bernard Hopkins was going to put hands on Cocoa Puffs, right? And we saw how sweet he was, and then he went on to say is Ryan Garcia, La Raza. You guys remember that? And then all of these dudes didn't side with Ryan Garcia, and the only female that got to see Ryan versus Oscar Duarte, she's the one that caped for Ryan and said, yeah, man, Ryan's pretty badass, right? Anyway, Bill is continuing just like a lot of people respected Bill Haney because he kept it for the most part real. But now we just seen these dudes are just fake. They're phony. And in this particular interview with Zab Judah, Mill City Box, I'm not too sure what the gentleman's name is, and Bill Haney, bro, like horrible, horrible. In this interview, Bill Haney, I'll try to find it. I think it was in the 5-minute mark.
You understand what I mean? He can't sell shit. No one is going to go buy an Oscar De La Hoya pay-per-view.
He starts saying that no one is going to buy an Oscar De La Hoya pay-per-view. Bro, okay. What are we talking about, Bill? Are we talking about when Oscar De La Hoya was the face of boxing and he was a pay-per-view machine and everybody and the baby mama and sister and grandma had loved Oscar De La Hoya? Are we talking about the pay-per-view Oscar De La Hoya of then as an active champion? Probably a top 10 fighter of all time, 15, 25, top 100, whatever the case may be in terms of your guys' ranking? Or are we talking about Oscar De La Hoya now? Because if Oscar De La Hoya then, bro, he shits all over Devin's resume and Devin's accomplishments and Devin's ability to sell. And we're talking about Oscar De La Hoya now? Didn't Jaime Munguia and Canelo Alvarez do a really good pay-per-view number? And wasn't it because Oscar spiced things up by, put some respect on my fucking name and he basically, angered Canelo Alvarez? What about when Ryan fought Tank? Wasn't it one of the most boringest press conference and so Oscar spiced it up? Talk about Devin Haney Promotions, right? What did Devin and DHP Promotions, what did they do to promote their fight versus Ryan Garcia? Because last I checked, Ryan Garcia was the one putting on a show. He was trying to save the kids. He said that people were coming after him, the Illuminati. He was trying to expose. Ryan, every single day, there was something new with him. Cops were checking up on him. He was in the media, in the public eye. Good or bad publicity. What was Devin doing? No promotion. He was just training in the background as he's supposed to do. But Ryan was doing that and much more. What promotion did Devin do? Because it was, Ryan Garcia's back must have hurt for carrying the whole fight, the promotion in effect. You guys get what I'm saying? Anyway, dude, like I said, you guys don't have to watch this interview because those were the two most important talking points. And Bill fumbled the bag, bro. He's just continuing to bury himself deeper and deeper and deeper, not making any sense. The streets out here, La Raza, your people from East Oakland, they don't even support you right now, bro. Because you guys aren't making any sense. You're not making any sense. It's not even backed with true substance, etc. Right? Oscar goes on to say that probably the reason why you guys aren't happy is because your son does not sell. Right? What were your numbers versus Rigas Prograis and Lomachenko? And then you're complaining about give me the rest of my money. Even Eddie Hearn, DAZN, they basically, DAZN never really says anything, but Eddie Hearn goes, look, I doubt that Oscar, is still keeping some of this money. I'm sure that he's already paid them all. There's probably not much money left. And why isn't Devin happy about it? Because the reality is you didn't do your half of the equation and bring in your East Oakland native people to support you on this pay-per-view. It was all piggyback off Ryan's fans. That's why Ryan fans are the loudest when it comes down to social media on trying to absolve him from any guilt that he must have pleaded or got busted with, whatever the case may be. Damn. Speed is not here. Anyway, man, it's a waste of an interview. It had the potential to be maybe a good talking viral situation, but Bill did not keep it true. He didn't keep it real. You know what I'm saying? Just like always, he's trying to, I don't even know what he's trying to do. Yo! Hopefully you guys are watching the fights on Golden Boy Boxing, man. This Filipino just got dropped right now. He's getting back up in the 3rd round, man. Can you continue? Yeah. Sí puedo. All right, man. Let me just put some amateur boxing up in the background. Shout out to my boy Angel Chavez and Jorge Maravillo, man. Hopefully they get a pro fight soon. Another pro fight. I mean, they're both like 12-0, but whatever the case may be. All right, guys, let me see. In that same Mill City boxing, Devin Haney and Ryan, sorry, not Devin, Ryan and Bill Haney are talking to one another. And just like always, man, who cares about that conversation? Right? Who cares about that conversation? Because again, nothing new was said other than there's a new person in the mix that Ryan is pointing fingers at. Look, man, there was a dude named Scooter. He gave me some, I don't know, he gave me yo, what the hell is that? It's a scary ass noise. Y'all heard that shit? Sounded like somebody burning donuts. Anyway, Ryan brings up this character named Scooter, how he gave him something, and then eventually he popped dirty the next 2 days. Starts talking about how he took an Epsom salt bath to suck out all the water from his body, and he couldn't, and he stopped basically when it was being ineffective, so forth and so forth. Bill continues to ask these ridiculous questions. And there's nothing new under the sun, man. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what excuses, what new people, or if Ryan or Bill, they try to save face when it comes down. At the end of the day, Ryan probably pled guilty. He settled for a 1-year suspension. He didn't want to go to litigation and draw this thing out like Mikey Garcia did with Top Rank, and it took 2-3 years out of it. Lawsuits are expensive. The lawyers, even if Ryan did try to fight, for his right for freedom, it was going to take much longer than the year suspension and cost him way more money than 1.1 million that he had to pay Golden Boy, and then the $10,000 fine to the New York State Athletic Commission. You get what I'm saying? So Ryan was like, nah, dude, let me just do my time real quick, and then I'll come right back. That's it. And at the end of the day, like I said, whatever conversations or talking points come up new when it comes down to that, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Ryan, quote unquote, is sentenced and he's doing his time. And, in the meantime, man, he can, I don't know, go film a movie, man. But yeah, man, I think this fight just ended right now. I'm just waiting for the main event, Darius Fulgham versus Vaughn Alexander. That's the one I'm interested in. Actually, I lied. They're still going on into the fourth round. But yeah, man. Hey, what's going on, babe? Speed, you gotta hop on, bro. You have to hop on real quick because I gotta take a little break, or I'm just gonna end it, man. But if you do hop on, I sent you the link already. You gotta carry it for like 10 to 15 minutes, possibly. Let me know if you got that time. Now, I just want to ask you, Speed. I want to ask you this, dude. Do you think that Oscar De La Hoya is unprofessional when Oscar claps back at these fighters, trainers, or other promoters? Do you think it's unprofessional of him? Do you think it's unprofessional of him? What did he say? Bro, what was that noise? Some scary stuff. Yeah, man. I mean, they told me that this building was haunted, that there's like a little girl in a dress or whatever the case may be, and you can see her, like her silhouette of her ghost or something. I don't know, man. It's pretty scary stuff. But I mean, I've been hearing this noise twice. Right now, I just got off the restroom. I heard the noise, and then that screeching noise came back. So I don't even know what it is, man. But Virgencita de Guadalupe, get my back, man. See if you're back here, man. Dude, hop on, Speed. Hop on. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So I want to ask you that question, Speed. Is Oscar De La Hoya unprofessional when he claps back and, he basically fights to clear his name while people are trying to ruin the reputation of him and his company? Guys like Rolly Romero, Errol Spence, Bill and Devin Haney. Is he unprofessional when he responds and rebuttals back to them? Because the way I look at it is like, nah, bro, you're lucky that he doesn't sue you guys and put a cease and desist letter so you guys can shut up. Because you guys have a modern following that use more social media than his people that are of 35 and above, 40 years old, that watch Oscar De La Hoya grow up and own this substantial and amazing company that he's built through the fruits of his labor, right? The way I look at it is like, no, dude, he's a fighter at heart, and he's always going to continue to fight for his company, his people, and himself. He's just standing up for himself. Maybe it's completely different, but it's refreshing that he evokes this type of response from all of these people. You know what I mean? And that's the difference. While Top Rank, they have to be political, while Eddie Hearn and them have to be political and they don't want to get into a fist fight, Oscar is the antithesis of that. He doesn't have to be quote unquote professional in that particular manner and just shut up and dribble. He's going to talk back. And it's refreshing because in no world should Rolly ever try to slander a legend like Oscar De La Hoya. For that same token, same thing with Errol Spence. You guys are beneath Oscar in all level of fronts. You guys are nowhere near his accomplishments, right? But that's just the way I look at that, man. Yo, Speed, carry, man, carry. You there? Mic check real quick.
Okay, 1 2 1 2. You can hear me, homie Ricky?
Yeah, loud and clear, man.
Okay. Yo,
Yo,
man, I don't know what that sound was, but that was scary. So I'm not. Yeah, I heard it, and I didn't know what it was initially. And then when you responded, when you reacted like that, I just rewinded it a couple of seconds to hear it again, and that definitely sounded like a screech from burning tires, somebody peeling off or something to that effect. But man, that thing sounded scary. And of course, I'm sure that you, from your vantage point, can verify whether or not that was a vehicle doing donuts or peeling out. So the fact that you know it was not that, then whatever that was, it just adds another layer to that mystique, that mystery. But homie Ricky, thank you very much for including me in this here live. I always appreciate it, of course, and I guess I'm gonna be holding it down for a matter of minutes. I'm not too sure what kind of errands or business you're gonna be running. I sure hope that they are profitable and needy. But as far as answering your question, you asked, actually, I should wish a good even fall to one and all. I will wish the homie Ricky and the Isalicious a good even fall. But I look, let's just address that question, right? If Oscar De La Hoya, Golden Boy, is being a professional when he decides to address these fighters that would like to besmirch and blighting the name of this legendary Hall of Famer, right? And you have to understand one thing, homie Ricky, and I think it's easy to understand this part, right? The sport of boxing has changed. Social media, the proliferation of websites and broadcasters and commenters dedicated or highly opinionated about the sport of boxing has made it so that anywhere you want, you can find out the latest, hottest, most gossipy news surrounding our beautiful sport, right? It was not like that before. In fact, one of the things, and you were addressing in the last live, and one of the things that I have myself addressed in my own show, in my own lives, is the fact that with the advent of the internet, with the proliferation and the expanse of social media, we have now become enlightened about a lot of the inner workings in the sport of boxing, right? And whereby you may think that is power and knowledge, and as a matter of fact, it has spoiled us with so much information that nowadays everybody is a boxing analyst. Everybody is an expert in the sport of boxing.
Yeah.
Or so you would think, right? Again, just the fact that you read a report and you think you know enough about the sport, how it works, how a fight takes place, what happens behind the scenes because you read a report, does not mean you really know what's up. Does not mean you stopped being an armchair trainer, a cornerman, right? All it means is that you have now been proffered information where you can form opinions, and that's great. Information to form your own opinions is a powerful thing, but it has not only spoiled us, it has soiled us. You see, it has made it so that now we no longer are innocent about the sport of boxing, and as a result of that, we have become even more cynical about it. Mind you, this is one of the most corruptible sports in existence. It's been founded on corruption, bribery, gambling, assassinations, mob ties, all of these things. We know that. And somehow, now that everywhere you can find some news about the sport of boxing, we think that no longer applies. We think at times that some of those things stayed behind because guess what? It's harder for you to hide in the shadows now because everywhere you can look and turn and catch a glimpse of a boxing really takes place. But a lot of the times, Homie Ricky, it's just made it that our lack of innocence, our knowledge about what we think the sport of boxing really is, it's made it so that we no longer appreciate fights. We no longer appreciate the fighters. We no longer appreciate the promoters. And then, even though we don't appreciate them, we decide to create our opinions about how they should move. Right now, we've come into a bridge where some of us still are smart enough and knowledgeable enough, and we've been around the sport for so long that we do remember a time before. You can just go to any YouTube channel or website and then just find gossip about boxing. There was a time when the only information you got about the sport of boxing was the fights themselves, right? Maybe there was a Max Kellerman. Maybe there was one of those HBO analysts, Bert Sugar or whoever, that would write a book or a report or something. Maybe once in a while you run into that. A lot of the times you wouldn't even care what these guys had to say because what mattered was the fight themselves. And that part, that innocence, the fact that now we can critique, analyze, look at the inner workings of a contract, the weight stipulations, all of that thing makes it so that we no longer appreciate the fights for what they are, which are men and women being pit together in the squared ring, trying to survive by knocking out and destroying and eviscerating their opponent. Homie Ricky, what I'm trying to get at is this. To answer your question, there was a time when Golden Boy would have kept his mouth shut. There was a time when Devin Haney, Bill Haney, if they had anything to say about Golden Boy, they would say it behind the closed doors. You wouldn't hear about it. You wouldn't have to pick and choose a side. Nowadays, because everybody has an opinion and because the game has changed, we have to expect that Golden Boy has to adapt with the times. To answer your question, is Golden Boy being unprofessional by responding with the same energy that the Devin Haneys of the world, that the Rolly Romeros of the world are bringing to him? No, because the profession of boxing has changed. Nowadays, you have to be a cynic and arrogant. You have to be a bastard in the eyes of the boxing world. And Golden Boy, he's just living up to the same energy. This is the profession now. The profession is keep the eyes of the fans, keep the controversy going, make sure the gossip reaches everybody's ears. And if you don't do that, you are not living up to the potential of this profession. Therefore, to be unprofessional would be to keep mum, to keep silent. Golden Boy is not unprofessional. Golden Boy is living modern profession of boxing.
Got you, man. Yeah, dude, you really know how to put someone to sleep, not answering a simple question. But thanks for like
Yeah,
history
I do
lesson,
though.
economical answer, dude. Yeah, no, I to shorten it down. Yeah, man, I agree.
I don't know how to. That's my job. I can
It's all
hold three,
good, man.
4 hour lives just doing the same thing.
Well, even then, a Golden Boy of now of 50 years old versus Golden Boy of I don't know, 10, 15 years ago when he was a promoter and he retired
Mhm.
and he was going back and forth with the Civil War when he was with Showtime or HBO fighting Bob Arum. When
Mhm.
Bob Arum was with HBO. No, so let me correct that.
Mhm.
Showtime, Golden Boy, they were together, teaming up, and then Top Rank had HBO backing, right? And even then, there was always these wars with Richard Schaefer and Top Rank, and they were battling one another. And at that time, Golden Boy, he had a working relationship with the Bob father of boxing, but he was always in the mix of just noise and just having good rivalries. Then it continued with Leonard Ellerby, the Floyd Mayweather beefs. It just always continued. Then he always had a beef with Eddie Hearn, and it always seems like Oscar is caught in the center stage, and sometimes it's excessive. And then you can't really say too much about his resume and what he's accomplished in and outside of the ring in terms of business savvy. It just he's always seems to be somebody's punching bag of like stuff that he does do with the cross dressing and others other shit that is just embarrassing.
Mhm.
But anyway, but yeah, man, I also agree. I don't think he's being unprofessional when he talks back and claps back at these fighters or other entities or promotional companies, but he does hurt himself and his company, when it comes down to like the cross dressing. But even then, it doesn't really affect them because there's a lot of colorful people nowadays. So he
Yeah.
might be
Nowadays,
tapping
yeah.
into that movement. Who knows, man? But I want to say this, man. You said okay, Devin Haney, right? So I think his 15 minutes are up. What I mean by that is the only reason Devin Haney was relevant is because he was a champion. You see, the only reason why Devin was relevant when it came down to whether Teofimo was undisputed or not when he beat Lomachenko is because Devin, somehow the WBC made Devin the champion and made Lomachenko the franchise belt. So it's funny how people from East Oakland they can say like, man, the WBC never supported Devin Haney. They always wanted Ryan Garcia to be their champion in their face, right? And it's just like, bro, how can you say that when they literally should have been backing Teofimo Lopez and Lomachenko, and they made Devin Haney a phony email champ? All of a sudden, the WBC never wanted Devin to hold on to the green and gold belt. Ridiculousness. The it's so ridiculous, bro. These talking points from the natives of East Oakland. It's ridiculous, bro. It's just like,
Wow.
man, you guys have a short memory and you guys don't even remember the facts and the big picture. See,
Mhm.
Devin and his father, especially Bill, they've always been political. They've always used politics to favor themselves. But when the politics don't support them or they can't come up using the system, because Floyd Mayweather put them on game. Once the system goes against them or they're not benefiting from it, oh, they become champions of recess. They take a loss. They no longer are champions. They want to retire from the sport. They want to blame everybody else for their inadequacies. You get what I'm saying? See,
Yeah.
they always use politics and lawyers and the judicial system so they can have political movements, so they can flip flop from DAZN and Eddie Hearn and then go fight with Top Rank and become undisputed to only come back with Eddie Hearn. But when the money is short, then they start, oh, Eddie, you guys don't love this? Why didn't you Oh, it's such a dirty game. No, what you did, leaving Eddie Hearn to go become undisputed when he was the one that believed you and always wanted, you see, they've always benefited from manipulating and knowing the political connections, and they're maneuvering around the system so they don't get exploited and used. But when boxing no longer needs you, Devin, or you want to retire and get one last cash out by fighting Devin, the rematch with Ryan Garcia. You see what I'm saying? So these guys are only relevant because they had a belt. They asked Teofimo Lopez, Michelle Joey Phelps asked Teofimo Lopez, is he interested in fighting Devin Haney? And he goes, nah, I'm more interested in going for unification than these champions like Alberto Puello. If Devin has no belt, I'm not really interested in that fight. You see, just
Wow.
like Teofimo wasn't interested in fighting you then at 135 because you didn't really have a belt. Lomachenko had the belts and he wanted undisputed. You see what I'm saying? So again, the only reason why Devin was relevant is because he was walking around here with titles, right? Everything outside of that, it's never been a like he's got no pull. His numbers don't show that he has pull. For a fighter that's accomplished, that understands social media and has been utilizing YouTube since he was 14 years old, beating up the Canelo lookalikes at the Mayweather gym, having the Floyd Mayweather influence and, sparring these war stories that you're undefeated in the sparring circle and the sessions, that still gave you no pull out here in the real world where it truly matters.
Yeah.
Right. And then,
Well,
well, I will say this. Hold on. Let me correct that real quick. They've done great for
yeah,
themselves.
yeah,
They've
yeah.
done great for themselves, knowing the limitations of Devin Haney. Right. I will say that aspect. But again, when it comes down to being loyal, they've never been loyal
Yeah,
to the people
and
that.
here's the thing. Besides doing great for themselves, homie Ricky, they've done great for the sport of boxing, right? This is why it hurts me. I am a divided man when it comes to all things Haney, right? I was one of the biggest proponents of Devin Haney for the way that he was moving. Win or lose, I don't care if you win or lose. I just care that you move in the sport of boxing adequately, which means you take on some very good, exciting fights, some fights that not only allow you to leave a legacy in the sport, but that also please the fans and that, if you can, make some money off of it, right? Um, that's what Devin Haney's career has been recently, ever. Actually, in fact, slightly before he was granted that WBC belt, on account that Vasily Lomachenko allowed Mr. Bob Arum to convince him that the WBC belt did not matter as much as the nomenclature of being called the franchisee, and that the franchisee held more power because you could have gone up or down at any time to fight any champion. Now, for the most part, homie Ricky, Devin Haney took that opportunity, made the best of it, right? He fought Saur Abduyev, if I'm not mistaken, when he was an undefeated fighter.
Yeah.
He fought Antonio Moran, I believe, when that guy may have been undefeated, or maybe he had just had a loss. He ended up fighting a unified uh, fighter, that Devin Haney, uh, that even Gervonta Davis has been ducking for years, which is my favorite current fighter, Vasil Haitek Lomachenko. Right? He fought that guy. He traveled to a foreign land with 60,000 people cheering against him to fight Georgie, the Black Sheep, Cambosos, and Australia. Fought him twice, in fact. He kept his word and he said, I'll give you the rematch. He ended up going up in weight to fight a fighter that had only been beaten by a man who ended up becoming undisputed soon after beating that guy. He beat a heavier, stronger punching fighter in Regis Prograis, right? This
You
is
weren't heavier than him.
all of these things he's done because they gave him a chance. They gave him an opportunity. It is not his fault that Vasily Lomachenko allowed the Bob father to convince him that the WBC belt did not matter. So this is Devin Haney in a nutshell. Even like you hinted at, he was a limited fighter. How is he limited, homie Ricky? Because he doesn't have pop in his punch, right? You cannot say that he's chinny because he's
He was
never really
shitty.
been rocked. And you cannot say that he's totally chinny because when he has been rocked, he's also remained on his feet. In fact, hilariously, Ryan Garcia, a guy who usually knocks out people in one punch that keeps him down, that guy, even though he knocked down Devin Haney 3 or 4 times, three times officially, maybe 5 times in total, he wasn't able to keep Devin Haney down. Tell me where this limited, quote unquote, shinny, pillow fisted fighter has done wrong. He hasn't up until
Well, let me tell you.
recently.
Let me tell you. Devin Haney is the most overrated, undisputed champion in this modern day of boxing. Okay, amongst his contemporaries on the list that have been undisputed: Usyk, Canelo, Terrence Bud Crawford, Naoya Inoue, Jermell Charlo, Josh Taylor. Devin Haney, out of all of those fighters that I just named, are probably Hall of Famers. And then there's Devin Haney and George Kambosos. Then there's those guys. Okay, George Kambosos, I'm gonna say this: he had the best night that he can possibly do against Teofimo Lopez. I'm not going to take that away from him. Like, I'm not going to take Devin from beating George Kambosos. But when it comes down to the contemporaries and you compare them amongst their boxing colleagues, those two dudes are overachievers. But their body of work is supremely overrated. All right? All of those guys that I named are pretty much Hall of Famers. I wouldn't call Devin Haney or George Kambosos a Hall of Famer just because they're undisputed. Also, Devin Haney is young, so he's got room for growth to continue to add to his legacy and his resume. But beating a Jojo Diaz at 135, Jojo wasn't even a puncher at 122 and 126, let alone 135. Jorge Linares was like 36 years old and had lost like 7 times before you fought him. And you basically went, I mean, you can basically say because of that last round or whatever, it's life and death. On top of that, let me see. Who else did you fight? You fought Regis Prograis. Okay, I like Regis, but he ain't the same dude that he was a couple years ago when he fought Josh Taylor. You want to keep going down the list of people that he's fought, like it's been there. He's mediocre at best. The best thing that Devin Haney has, and in his speed, I mean, it's his speed and his ability to maneuver around and choose the weakest, like, opposition, the path of least resistance.
Look, homie Ricky, I get all that, but if we're gonna go down that rabbit hole, right, where we're gonna start conditioning every,
we're gonna have to hold it down. Do your thing.
okay, all right, man, this part is gonna suck because I won't have the homie Ricky with his energy contradicting and picking apart the following statements, right? But anyways, here we'll give it a try. Mr. Vince Vargas, good even fall to you. I hope you are well of health and sane of mind. And yeah, thank you very much for hopping on this here live to address all things boxing. Mr. Vince Vargas, I hope you've hopped on to the DAZN app. If you have not yet subscribed to, well, then, we can't really do much about it. But there are 2 events taking place right now. There's one of the rare Golden Boy fight nights on Thursday. He's had about 5 in total since they signed that contract with DAZN 2 years ago, so it's very rare. Obviously, that means that Golden Boy is not living up to the fight demands of DAZN. But hey, what are we gonna do? We have one going on right now on DAZN, and not only that, we also have another fight event on DAZN taking place in or around the city of Houston in the Red Owl Theater. This is an event starring the inauguration of the what is it called? I've been reporting on it recently. This is I'll tell you right now. One moment. It's the Houston Hitmen versus Dallas Enforcers for this relatively new boxing outfit that's called the Fighters League. This is basically an event, right, where a few cities around the United States of America, they pick some of the fighters from there, and then they make them fight as teams. There's about 6 different fighters in each weight division for each team, and each of those guys has 1 round to face off their opponent. And there's about 24 different fighters in each weight division, actually. And anyways, these guys have 1 round to see who wins, and then the next one of their teammates goes and has another round for a total of 24, I guess. And then whoever wins, whoever gets the most points, every round is 1 point. Whoever gets the most points, they move on, and that's how they end up moving up and going on to fight for the championship. At the end of the day, there's going to be about 12 different teams boiled down to four, and then 4-2, and then whoever wins at the end not only is the champion, but they're coronated. And this is the second season of that event. Long story short, what I'm trying to get at is this. This is the most interesting thing. This fighting league has led to one person's fatality this year and one of the most horrific knockouts of the year so far. Now you're probably saying, man, what do I want to watch that for? Well, for one, if you're into violence, you'll love it. Secondly, it's different because obviously it's just quick action. These guys give it 100% because they only have 3 minutes and one round to win that round and move on. And it's obviously led to some very aggressive fights. Where one gentleman, Mr. Ardian Dembo, who I reported, he was a Cameroonian, or a oh wow, the lights just went out. I'm watching this event right here, and the lights just went out. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I guess this is not a very good showing for this year league. Oh my goodness. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, it's called the Team Combat League. It's the Team Combat League. The lights just went out. Oh, here we go. The lights just came back on. So it's Team Combat League, and if you want to know more about it, all you have to do is hop on the zone and find out. Artie and Dembo died in April. He actually got hurt in March, died a month afterwards in April, and then just 3 weeks ago, this fighting league, they had another event where a gentleman, he got hit with what looked like to be a regular punch. It just seemed to hit him on the side of the head, so obviously a tempo shot. And then in one of the, man, this year has been so horrific for knockouts. This gentleman got tagged in the side of the head, and it seemed to be a tempo shot. Nothing big, nothing powerful, nothing too flush. And then all of a sudden, that fighter that got hit, he froze in place. And his opponent recognized something was wrong. And then the opponent that was hurt, his arms were extended. He stays there for about 5 seconds, and like a statue, he tumbles face forward.
Whoa, who's taking over this live chat right here? Man, the Mexican G, bro. I appreciate you, man. Haney should sue Diddy for his back problems. Man, I appreciate your super chat, man. Your money is too good here. I appreciate it, man. Thank you, man. You don't have to, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's
funny, you guys are gonna
wow,
start with
that's
good
cool,
jokes.
man. Yeah, that's awesome. You know what, homie Ricky, timely of the Mexican G and good even fall to you, carnalito. I hope you are well of health and sane of mind over there in down South California. I hope the weather is a little more refreshing and comfortable for you. But it is actually timely that you came through with another one of these super chats. Again, like the homie Ricky states, they we never solicit for them, but they're greatly appreciated. But today, homie Ricky, I in one of your past lives, a person came on to comment, right?
Oh,
And I
yeah, I seen
always,
that.
oh, you okay? So all he commented was, "Who cares?" And of course, when somebody says something like that, homie Ricky, without a context, without elaboration, of course you engage them, right? You want to know what is it
No.
that you think that we said doesn't matter. So I told them, what are you talking about, right? Like we reported on this. What is it that you disagree with? And he took some kind of umbrage to that, and he told me, look, don't get carried away and start developing an ego. You don't have any views on this here video. I think you only had like 50. You don't have any views on this here video. You don't have any kind of subscriber count. I'm the only commenter in this here comment section, basically trying to belittle the value that we provide, if any, to the boxing world, to the YouTube channels, right? And I had to remind him that at the Homie Ricky podcast, like over here at mine, at Warp Speed, we never pander for growth. We never pander nor solicit super chats. We never ask for you to subscribe. We grow ourselves naturally, which means if you find value after a while, if we continue to provide a consistency, something of value to you, you will be coming back. You will comment. And I don't think people understand that part, Homie Ricky, right? They think that because there's people like the Mexican G or El Pachuco or Mr. Vince Vargas or the few people that hit us up on occasion, that means they don't know what they're coming here for. That they're just people that have nothing better to do than just to sponsor two opinionated individuals that are always wrong and say stupid takes. I don't think that's what we are, Homie Ricky. I think the reason why there's other channels out there that are much bigger than us is because they do have a formula that is set, which is they report on the hot news. They continue to report on the controversies that may be empty, that may be insignificant, but because people find some value in them, or they court controversy, or because they tell people to subscribe and like and all those things that we never do, they must think that only those channels matter. And to tell you the honest truth, Homie Ricky, I have listened to our takes. We report on so many different things that other people don't. We report from the side of the involved participant. In my case, a father of a boxer and of upcoming fighters. I have been a former fighter myself. I report seriously on the boxing. I make connections with the local amateur boxing. I talk to long story short, if the Mexican G decides to super chat, it's not because we don't provide any value. It's because I hope he finds something worthwhile here, and we appreciate every single thing that he and everybody else that hops on here says, does, or wants to address.
Yeah, no, man. Look, all I say this when it comes down to people that comment like that. I mean, if they don't want to add, if they're just gonna give me, I don't know, four words, and not be elaborative or why they don't care, that just lets me know that they didn't sit and listen to the live. They just read the title and then they just responded, with no substance. That's what it looks like. The title, that the video that you're talking about is when we're talking about David and Canelo Alvarez. How if David Benavidez' stock went down, then Canelo can't ask for 200 million, and the guy says, "Who cares?" Okay, that lets me know that he didn't listen to the whole video. Okay, nor is he interested in listening to the video, so I don't even address them. Like whatever's, man. I don't really care if people comment. All I'm gonna say is this: look, a lot of these channels on YouTube, they're very good. I like all of them. I love the channels that are consistent, even if I don't agree with their point of view. When it comes down to boxing related, I like to conversate and show different points of views, argue. I don't mind all that. The reason, one of the things that these channels are much better at than me is that the production is really good, but more importantly, their consistency. When I started YouTube, like uploading it was like 10 years ago, but I stopped. Because I respected these fighters a lot, man. You know what I mean? I was like, it's tough, and I didn't want to be such of a hard critic because the sport is tough. But I was like, life is tough, and at the end of the day, it's like, if we want to grow the sport, then you must talk about it, you must engage. And that's what I was thinking at that time. And then I deviated it because it was just too political. It was too divisive. For a dying sport, instead of these fans from different countries and skin colors and nationalities and all of these things, I was like, bro, you know this sport is not that popular, and you guys are extremely divided. If you guys want to be divided, it's okay. But in terms of pushing a brand, pushing the sport of boxing and helping it grow, that's not the best way to grow it. What's going to happen is it's going to be very tribal, very trivial, and people are only going to go to this sport when there's a booming a booming fighter that you're willing to support. Oh, he's the goods, so I'll back him. But once he's no longer there, you don't become a fan of the sport. You just become a fan of somebody that looks like you because you can associate with him via skin color, background, or whatever the case may be. When if you subject yourself to that, then you're not going to really appreciate the Eastern Europeans, the Lomachenkos, the Vostigs, the Biturbias, the Bivos, because they're not Mexican or they have tattoos. They don't have tattoos in your face or they don't speak English. Because at the end of the day, we all know how to speak fighting. We all know how to speak boxing. You see, I'm gonna slightly contradict myself from yesterday's life when we were talking about our boxing fans too woke, right? We have too much access to certain things. So basically, everybody's an expert. The reality is a lot of people might be experts. And the reason why they feel like that is to the Mexican G's. He wrote yesterday that, yeah, man, I feel like we have the perfect amount of information, whether good or bad. I had to really think about that, right? And the reason is we do have a lot of information. So it's really quick to grasp the sport of boxing relatively quickly because it's a simple science. It's not too complicated. And at the end of the day, anybody can pick it up. You don't need to go to college. You don't really need an amazing nutritionist or anything. If you got heart, if you know how to block a little bit and you got balls, you can make some money off in this sport. That's the beauty about this. It's like it's an open gym. You buy yourself some $20 gloves, buy yourself a mouthpiece, Everlast brand or whatever, boom, you're ready to rock and roll it. You don't need to go to college and be 6'5" and to be you don't need that. There's weight classes. Make a weight, train your ass off in your own backyard. You can hit potato bags. You can hit like a bag from Goodwill, whatever the case may be. You can lift a little bit of weight or just do burpees and push-ups. Boom, you're already in shape and run around. That's as simple as you can get for somebody to call you an athlete or a competing athlete. It's super simple. And now there's a lot of people on social media, Instagram, YouTube, that they teach you how to feint, box and stuff. Everyone is building a profile, and essentially because there's so much competition, there's a lot of secrets out there that are free, and you become an expert overnight. And that's the truth about, and that's why I love this sport of boxing, because you don't need all that expertise to basically be a sensation overnight.
Yeah.
By that token, overnight, you can also lose and tarnish your reputation by one bad fall or one bad night, etc. So, it's two sides to every coin. And I love that about boxing. And sometimes I hate it, and everybody's going to have that love and hate relationship. I'm going to go to this point. When we're talking about Devin Haney, right? Even though on paper, the fight's a no contest and he doesn't have a loss on his record, the fact that he wants to take time off, that interpretation in and of itself tells me that you, Devin, are interpreting what happened on 420 as a loss. The reason you need time to rest is because Ryan outsmarted you and outsmarted your father. He beat you in that fight, in that ring. And that wasn't even the best version of Ryan. Ryan can only get better. For that same notion, I guess Ryan can only get worse as well if he continues to, turn his back and spin in circles and dizzy himself out, right? Which I don't know why he would. But by that same metric, Devin, quote unquote, retiring, like Ryan is retiring and he's only looking to fight Ryan when Ryan comes back, that lets me know that Ryan, essentially, your whole career is based on following Ryan Garcia. That was your mega fight when you were the WBC champion and Ryan was supposed to be your mandatory. That was your mega fight. And when the lights were on and they shined brightest, you fell short. And just like always, politics and the system, he understands it. They're aware because his father, he been in the system, so he understands how to maneuver in or around it. He's very shrewd in that aspect. But when it came down to protecting his son, he almost got his son killed. Had a broke a jaw. You know what I'm saying? And basically outplayed himself to the highest bidder of 2.2 million, whatever the case may be. At the end of the day is this, man. Whether on paper Devin doesn't have a loss, you're taking it like a loss. And you're only happening on the small victories like, oh, Ryan is guilty. So let me just, salsa dance in the, while I'm bowling. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it's like, it's whatever, bro. Like, again, I'm going to say that Devin is extremely overrated. I'm proud of what he's able to do. There's a lot of learning things. There's no hatred from my side coming towards Devin Haney, but we just got to keep it as real as we possibly could be, right? And he's maneuvered his career extremely well, right? And for as limited of skill that he is, remember, because what makes Devin Haney really good is that he essentially never quits. There's a shirt from a lot of people. I think there's a famous quote, probably from Michael Jordan, or it could be from Ruben Villa. I don't really know. But it says, I wasn't the best one. I just never quit in regards to why I'm here in this position, right? I just never quit. Or like Michael Jordan says, 80% of success is just showing up. That's what Devin does. He just shows up. He's disciplined more than others because he's not the fastest, not the strongest, not the most skilled, but he's always going to show up and give it his all. And that right there is effort. I can respect that. Whether all his extra curricular activities or shenanigans, I can respect effort at any single time. I don't have to have the most talented boxer, but if you give me effort, same thing. If I'm training baseball and these athletes, you don't have to pitch 80 miles per hour. If you can throw, and if you can just give me effort, we're going to make the best out of the situation. And I promise you, we might lose, but we're going to be competitive, period. And that's just whatever the case may be. Let me read a couple of these comments. Let me scroll back. Maybe Isalicious goes, hugs and kisses. That's my girl right there, folks. War Speed goes, bro, what was that? Oh, I read that. All right. Vince Vargas, salute to you, bro. Happy Thursday. And make sure, guys, that you guys are watching the Golden Boy fights on the Zone or on the YouTube channel. I'll try to hop off in a little bit. I don't want to go 2-3 hours unless Speed got a lot to talk about. But let's go. The Mexican G goes, just bored at work. Gracias, the Mexican G, and good evening, fall. I hope you guys are all having a wonderful day. I support my raza any way I can. I want to see you guys at the top. I want to see us at the top. I agree with this statement, the Mexican. In fact, speaking of raza, as a Chicano, I want to get a Chicano. I want to get a Chicano to govern the state of California. California. Yeah, man, it would have to. Let me see.
Homie Ricky, oh my God. Golden Boy has some beautiful ring girls. Oh my goodness. Wow.
Damn, I'm like behind.
Behind in what?
Well, and I was like 15 minutes behind because I guess Oscar's being interviewed.
Oh, no, I don't know what you're at, man. This is maybe no. Maybe I'm not behind. I just refreshed the screen because my Xbox is acting up. Good even forward to you at Pachuco. Saludos. I hope you are well of health and sane of mind, and I hope that you, the Mexican G, Mr. Vince Vargas, and Pachuco are watching Golden Boy on the Zone, one of those very extraordinarily rare Thursday night fights with Golden Boy. So far, it's been about 5 in the 2 years that he's had this contract with the Zone. Very rare occasions that he throws a Thursday night fight, but today is one of them. He is going to have, for the main event, Darius Fulgham, his very handsome prospect.
Hey, man.
A very handsome prospect. Here we go.
Say that he's a good fighter.
He's regular. Oh my goodness, that girl is beautiful. Wow,
man, you're gonna
that's stunning.
You're gonna simp on the ring girls and you're gonna simp on boxers. Man.
No. So anyways, Darius Fulgham, right? He's gonna be having a sophomoric exhibition tonight. There's so many fighters on this here card, guys, that I don't know half of them. But I will say this: that to me is one of the most exciting things in the sport of boxing, when we are introduced
Facts.
to fighters
You
that
gotta
we
say
don't
no
know
Diddy,
nothing
man.
about. Oh, that. Oh my goodness, gotta
Hold
say
on, let
no
me
Diddy. Oh yeah,
continue
yeah,
to
no
read.
Diddy, no
I'm trying to
Diddy.
continue to read these comments. The Mexican goes, I support La Raza any way I can. I want to see us at the top. I agree with this. Oh, I read. The Mexican G goes, that's long overdue, carnal. California is ours. Aslan, it is a faint dream for some, but some of us still sleep in hopes that it is realized. Wise words. Saludos to El Pachuco. What's going on, bro? Happy Thursday to you, man. Hopefully you're eating some good food, having some great weather, and watching. Whoa, is that Alexis Rocha? Oh
No,
no,
no, no, it's not Alexis Rocha.
oh no,
Wait,
it's
wait,
'cause
wait.
I'm so far behind from
No, I think you
from the
may be
screen,
right. I
man.
think that
So
was Alexis Rocha.
yeah, it's just a commercial, but
Oh,
yes, he's coming back and fighting soon. Vince Vargas goes, Mexican G is a real G. Facts. Gotta say no Diddy. And I'm watching now on the zone, says Vince Vargas. Yeah, man. Right now I'm still watching. About 7 minutes behind. So I
well,
just gotta.
fast forward it.
Yeah, I know I can fast forward it, but I want to see what Oscar De La Hoya is talking about. But yeah, man, kind of addressed a couple of topics, man. The biggest mistake, in my opinion, of Devin Haney, right, is that he's going to wait till Ryan Garcia comes back. You see, Ryan Garcia has no say in the matter. He's suspended for 1 year. Now, Ryan could cross over to MMA, to knuckle, the knuckle, hand wrap league, when they box with no gloves. He can hop over these other, but in terms of boxing, Ryan has to step aside and just go in hiatus. To Devin, much like Ryan, these kids they hydrate and are extremely big, right? When Devin comes back, he's probably gonna be a welterweight, just like Ryan when he comes back might be at 154 pounds. You see,
Mhm.
look, man, the biggest mistake that Devin can do is not fight Sandor Martin. Look, if you this is how I know that he's also interpreting this that occurred in 420 as a loss. He needs to take a break, and he's not in the right mind space to fight Sandor Martin, right? Because if you feel that you won this fight or you got cheated, all you gotta do is tell people like, nah, man, I'm gonna fight Sandor Martin. What occurred that night on 420, you know, on Hippie Day was just that. People being on drugs, and they use that to cheat me. Watch what I do against Sandor Martin and defend against somebody that makes proper weight. But no,
Wow.
Devin is probably going to remove himself from the sport of boxing for 6 to 1 year, hoping for. Look, check this out. Realistically, if this rematch were to occur between Devin and Ryan, it'll happen at least next year around April. And then when they negotiate, realistically, they might be fighting around September of next year.
Yeah,
Who
just
knows
due
how
on the
much
count
weight
of
Ryan's going to
having to
gain?
get a tune-up fight and all that stuff. Yeah, that sounds realistic.
That's what I'm saying.
And in fact, I would actually say that if it doesn't take place around that time, it would take place even early next 2 years from now.
Absolutely. So these two fighters, Devin and Ryan, have to do the best of their ability right now to continue to somehow be active. Okay, Ryan, you can't fight for a year. You still gotta train, bro. You gotta still work with Derrick James or go work with the trainer Joe Goosen in LA. Devin, you guys gotta train. Period. You guys are very young, where there's a loss is not the worst thing that can happen into your career. Look at Ryan. Everybody thought that he was down and out when he got beat by Tank Davis, comes back against Oscar Duarte, beats Duarte, tough fight, and then he comes back and beats Devin Haney, and people love Ryan again. Devin, same token. All right, bro. Everybody's punching bag right now. Go fight Sandor Martin, relinquish, get that W, tricky fight, then go unify with Teofimo Lopez. If you beat Teofimo Lopez, you're on everybody's good grace again, and everybody loves you. That's the fickleness of boxing fans. But at the end of the day, they have to be, because there's so many moving parts that and everybody loves winners. So again, you have to always be around people to support you, and you always have to make sure that you're keeping your name relevant. Right now, Devin and Ryan's name are extremely relevant. The worst possible thing that they can happen for these both competitors is just to make just to how do I say this? Put all their eggs on their basket of what occurred on 420 and be like, this is the tipping point of my career. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you know what, homie Ricky? If I never get to see these guys fight again, I wouldn't shed a tear, right?
Okay, so you're not interested in a rematch.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No,
What?
no, 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 no. Under many, you know, I'm the biggest. What is the word I'm looking for? Uh, I'm the biggest opponent for rematches, especially the immediate rematch type. Now, I reckon, like you're talking about it, if they take place at 154, maybe the novelty about being at a different weight class, 147, the novelty of being at a different weight class might make it different, or otherwise, the fact that we haven't seen him for a few years, by then, you know, or a year or so, maybe it's enough of an intrigue or a longing to see what these guys are up to and how they'll look after a long layoff. Maybe there is some intrigue, some interest there. But to tell you the honest truth, listen, homie Ricky, there's
Hold on.
so
So if you're
many
not
incredible
interested in
fights that can
rematches,
be made that I don't want to see it again. The way
right?
that I seen it is this.
Wait, hold on. All right, hold on. Before you get to that point, so you're not interested in seeing the rematch? Okay, fair.
No,
But you're not interested in seeing Devin or Ryan versus Teofimo Lopez?
that
What
look,
about Ryan Garcia? Look, no me
not
take
the
the
way
pleasure,
they're
Ryan.
turning me off on this sport, not the way that they are moving, not the way that they're talking, not the kind of way that they are drawing all the attention to themselves while everybody else is ignoring what's going on in the sport of boxing. Guess what? All these other things should trump the gossip surrounding these two mediocre fighters, right?
Yeah,
For one, Ryan Garcia's mediocre. Devin Haney is a standout, but still, nonetheless, he has now become, in my eyes, a persona non grata. He has become one of the most harmful individuals in the sport of boxing. Both of them together are destroying and creating they are introducing a new level of disagreement, of disfavor to the sport. If I don't get to see these guys fight again, homie Ricky, I won't shed a tear. I really won't. I'm watching these two fighters that I've never seen before in my life, and I'm having a heck of a time being introduced to people that just want to fight, that don't have to go on their Instagram to court gossip and favor. They don't have to act like clowns. They don't have to smoke weed or promote weed companies or any of those crazy things that these other two numbskulls do. No, they're just going over there and they're just fighting. And I'm watching this and I'm not thinking about Ryan Garcia and I'm not thinking about Devin Haney. In fact, when you said you were going to talk about Ryan Garcia, what did I tell you today? I said I'm not going to hop on the live, and you said, "Well, I got a new angle, and it's important, and I know it's important because I was listening to it." But I
yeah.
said, "Aren't we the channel that I just sort of had a little tit for tat on the comment section of a
Yeah, you
live that
want to
took
talk
place
about
2 days
that?
ago because we talk about new and refreshing things?"
No, it wasn't necessarily new or refreshing. It was just like the guy said in the comment, man. He was like, "Man, no one's talked about this in quite some time." So that's what it was. But yeah, man, it's all right. Let me ask you one last question, bro, so we can end it. So I can watch a little bit of this Golden Boy boxing right here undercard.
Golden Boy, watch the fight. Watch the girl. She's one of the most stunningly beautiful women I've seen in a long time. She has a beautiful brown skin. She has perfect. Oh, well, man, I believe your wife was listening in. But she has perfectly plump lips. She has full, nice cheeks, very kissable, beautiful, smiling eyes, dark like the pitch of the night, the pitch of the midnight on a moonless evening. She has the perfect nose. My goodness, like that's Wow, that she reminds me a lot of my wife. You know,
Vince
when I
Stone.
first seen her.
Vince
I
Jr.
have to throw that in there before I get killed.
Pro Box has some beautiful ring girls, Vince says.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But see, look, there's a couple of ring girls. Wait. One last shout out to one of the most beautiful ring girls of all, Amaris V. Amaris V. She's a ring girl, and also a one of those lowrider models. She does a lot of lowrider pictures and models and calendars and stuff like that. Her name is Amaris V. And but I don't know who this girl is, but man, oh man,
I want
man,
to
oh
talk
man.
about, just before we hop off, man, just because Oscar was talking about Shane Mosley briefly in his Instagram little live post, but Shane Mosley Jr.,
Yeah,
he's going to be fighting Daniel Jacobs at the Honda Center in Anaheim, California,
heck
July
of a fight.
6th. So that's going to be the Saturday, probably, right? Of let me see, I think July 4th lands on Thursday. Yeah, so July 6th, that will be the Saturday. Man, that's pretty good. Shane Mosley's going to be fighting Daniel Jacobs.
Mhm.
What do you think about Shane Mosley Jr., bro? Are you a fan? Do you think that I'm not saying that do you think he can beat Carlos Adames to become a champion? Do you think that he would give Johnny Beck, Alan Canalai, a good run of money at middleweight or no?
Well, Alan Canada is he's got great skill, and the thing that concerns me about Shane Mosley Jr. is that he has as many off nights as he does some excellent nights. Right? Um, I seen him have a spectacular fight where he looked incredible against Gabe Rosado. Right? Now I want you to tell me who looks great against Gabe Rosado. Nobody. I mean, except for Beck the Bully, Beck mature. Uh, he
Triple G
looked
looked great against Gabe Rosado. A lot of people look great against Gabe Rosado.
well, but those guys that look great, they usually end up, becoming the next guys in line, right? Um, but for the most part, Shane Mosley has always been fighting on the outskirts of contention,
Who's this
and
David
also
Benavidez looking like right here?
I don't
Calcul.
know. I don't know. I know he looks funny, right? He does look a lot like
He's
David
like
Benavidez
David Benavidez,
when he
man.
used to do coke.
Come
It's
on, man.
hilarious.
Oh my goodness. Look, man, I'm gonna just say this, since you don't want to really talk about Shane Mosley. Look,
No.
Shane
I want to talk about him. What I'm
wait,
trying to
hold
say is
on.
this: if he comes looking like the guy who beat Shane Mosley, yeah, he can definitely become a champion.
Well, check this
But
out.
if he has an off night, he's easy pickings.
Shane Mosley Jr. said this: I got the call to fight either Carlos Adames or Danny Jacobs. Guess who I said? I want Danny Jacobs.
Huh.
Because
Interesting.
if I go to a crowd and people say, hey, are you fighting Carlos Adames? They're going to be like, who's that? But if I go, hey, I'm going to fight Danny Jacobs, they go, oh, really? You about to fight DJ? So who do I want to fight? Yeah, I want to fight one of the legends and the ex-middleweight champions of the world. It's almost like I was like, all right, I get what you're trying to do is fight Danny Jacobs, but don't you want to become a champion and fight Carlos Adames? Yeah, sure. People might not know who Carlos Adames is, but I don't think people in East Oakland know who Danny Jacobs is. He's a New Yorker. So it's just like, what are we talking about here? So I don't know, man. I don't think Shane Mosley Jr., after reading this article, man, I don't think he will become a champion. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just wanted to throw that out there. I was just like, man, what is this dude talking about?
So you're saying
Uh,
that he doesn't have the ambition?
it didn't really make it. Didn't. Yeah, I mean, didn't have the ambition. Doesn't have the right. I mean, he's got the right team. I think he's still with Golden Boy. But what I'm trying to say is, it's like, I mean, hey, I can't even say that because Steve Claggett at age 35, he's getting his first title shot. And Mosley Jr. being at age 33, he's got time. But right now is the perfect time. The middleweight division is not stacked. Sure, Johnny Beck, Alam Kanalai might have 2 or 3 of the belts. Carlos Adames, they just stripped Jamar Charlo. So, but this would be like the weakest time to be a middleweight champion because there's only one dude essentially that you might not want to face, and that's Johnny Beck. The rest are, there for the picking. So I'm just like, bro, I don't know. I would feel like if Terrell Gausha could go the distance, and he's like 38 years old fighting Carlos Adames, I felt like if that was Shane Mosley Jr. against Carlos Adames, maybe he could have pulled that victory and became a champion that night. I don't know. But yeah, man, it's gonna be very interesting to see if Golden Boy can. Let me say this, man.
Shane Mosley Jr. is not too young at all, right?
That's what I'm saying. That's what
he's
I'm saying.
33 years of age.
Yeah. Let me ask you this: can there's like this mass exodus of fighters leaving PBC and Amazon, right? Eddie Hearn has signed a few like Matias. He signed Jerron Boots Ennis and things of that nature. Can Golden Boy get his hands on David Benavidez or no?
Yeah. He could.
Do you think that he's going to? Like, if he goes, look, David, I got Bully, Bektermir, I have Jaime Munguia. We can make the fight with Edgar Berlanga across. They also, Diego Pacheco was his boy, but like we have some fighters here at 168. Like, come sign with us. Or do you think he's gonna be like, nah, I can't, man. I gotta keep fighting on the undercard of Tank Davis because Sam Lukowicz, like, you know what I mean? Like, do you think Golden Boy will make that play? Because, dude, if he can get David Benavidez, that would be great. That would be great. Like, imagine, bro. Or no, do you think that he's tied down? Is even for that notion, is Canelo still tied down to PBC right now?
No, I don't think he's ever been tied down to anybody, to tell you the honest truth. That guy does whatever he wants from me because that's just how he is, he does whatever he does. I would say he's not tied down to anybody. Can Golden Boy make a move for David Benavidez? Yeah, but I believe everybody's gonna want to make a move. It's just really gonna depend who can offer David Benavidez the most money and the most opportunities, and I'm not too sure if Golden Boy can do that. Can Golden Boy become like the promoter that may be able to work with other promotions in order to make the bigger fights and stuff like that? Yeah, but in the age of Turkey Al-Sheikh and Saudi Arabia's involvement, a lot of those questions about who picks up who, especially when you're already an established name, really become moot points, because I'm sure that if Turkey Al-Sheikh wanted to, he could just negotiate something direct with David and they wouldn't need no intermediary.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Does David Benavidez look alike on the Golden Boy fight that dude Cal Cruz with the army
Cal
shorts?
Cruz, yeah, he does. No, he does.
He's pretty. He's all right, bro. He's pretty good.
Yeah, he's something, right? He's definitely something.
The David Benavidez looking like, yeah, man. He's got the posture, the size, even got the little fro,
Yeah,
But,
yeah, he does look a lot like him, man.
Better. If I didn't know any better, I could be like, hey, yo, bro, that's David Benavidez, folks. I mean,
Yeah.
look, am I tripping? Ah, man.
No, he does. He does.
He looks like him, bro. He got the same posture, Look, man. All right, man. So not tomorrow, but let me ask you this, bro. Let me ask you this. Does Juan El Gallo Francisco, if we have Estrada, can he upset Bam Rodriguez? I know we talked a little bit about this the other day, but can he upset Bam? Do you think coming off a year in, 6-month layoff?
Yeah, of course.
Wow. You think he can upset Bam during that context?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
So Juan Francisco El Gallo Estrada, he's we talked about how in the slower weight classes, a fighter age 33 is really the equivalent of being like 38 for any of the heavier weight divisions, right? Because they
He's
take
10
more.
years older, bro.
Yeah, but that also means more experience, right?
True.
Well, here's the thing, though. Here's the kicker. Bam Rodriguez Jesus Bam Rodriguez has been sparring with the only other guy that would accelerate his own experience and give him an insider's knowledge on how to prepare for Juan Francisco Estrada, which is basically sparring with one of the
Chocolatito.
other. Yes, exactly. Roman
Virgil
Gonzalez,
Ortiz. Virgil
Chocolatito.
Ortiz said that sparring session between those two was amazing.
Who said that?
Virgil Ortiz. When Bam,
What?
Chocolatito, I guess he's also preparing for a fight that's happening soon. And, he was in or around LA region. And, basically they hit up Roberto Garcia and they were like, yeah, dude, we'll just get some work. And Virgil Ortiz was like, wow, this sparring session that just occurred was amazing. I would pay like $150 for that shit. I would love to see that, bro.
Yeah, but again, the reason for that, look, here's the thing: Chocolatito Estrada is no more different than Juan Francisco El Gallo from
Yeah.
Chocolatito. To tell you the truth, like those guys are almost mirror images of themselves. The only thing that you can say is that maybe Chocolatito's his defense, his ability to to bob and weave or catch and shoot is slightly better than El Gallo Estrada. But if you were to put them there, Virgil Ortiz Jr. would be saying the same exact thing. Wow, I just seen one of the greatest sparring matches ever between El Gallo Estrada and Bam Bam. He would be saying the same exact thing, right? But as far as going to answer your question, are you gonna tell me that you don't think a fighter that has gone through hell and back and has the experience that El Gallo Estrada has with the double or triple the fights that Bam Bam Rodriguez has, who's been taking punches by heavier fighters than Bam has recently, you think that guy has no chance because he's older? Or in fact, I would say he might have a lesser chance because he's well rested, almost 2 years removed from the sport. That's
Yeah.
going to be the thing that's going to work against him. But then again, maybe he's been just healing. Maybe he's been training. Maybe he's been doing all kinds of crazy stuff. We'll know tomorrow because tomorrow is the weigh-in. We'll know what his body will look like. We'll know how dedicated he was. We'll see a little more. And just to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, that we're here today, the Zone Matchroom, they hosted the press conference for these fighters. Now I know a lot of people like to read into the words that they say or how long their stare down is. I got to see just a glimpse of it. I was still at work, but I got to see just a glimpse of what they were being against each other. They were very respectful, very cordial. I did not get to see the eyeball to eyeball, but tomorrow we'll get to see a bit more on how these guys' energy are. They both look very confident. I don't know, homie Ricky. You wanted a simple answer. I'll tell you one thing. Francisco Estrada is better than Cuadras. He's better than Senny Edwards. He's better than Sorghum Besai. And he's beaten Chocolatito Estrada twice. At least in the eyes of the judges. He's beaten him twice.
That's a very good point, man. That's true. Look, I'm not saying that Gallo doesn't have a chance. I'm just saying in that context of being absent from a year. Now, mind you, I know that Bam is moving up. So maybe, his power is not going to carry as well as his dominant performance that he had against Sonny Edwards. It's just, I'm a fan of Gallo Estrada,
Yeah.
And to that notion, I'm a fan of Bam Rodriguez as well, But look, the world can never be perfect. I understand that. So, like, we can never get true 50-50 moments. It's just I would like Gallo to have a tune-up in between, a year and a half. But, beggars can't be choosers. If he agreed to it and he signed on the dotted line, that lets me know that, and I should give him the respect that whether he's away from the sport 3 years or a year and a half, he's a champion. He knows, how to prepare for a fight of this magnitude. Maybe he needed some well-rested time. He's going to come in here, and to your point, he is better than all of those dudes because he's beaten all of those dudes. Carlos Quadra, Sor Rung Vinsai Chocolatito before Bam Bam Rodriguez was able to touch those dudes. So Francisco is that guy. It's just, again, as you get older, you do need to take care of your body completely different. You might have longer times. I mean, Gallo probably has like 55 total fights, like 44 by wins, maybe 1 or 2 loss, maybe a couple draws, whatever the case may be. Dude, that's a good fight, bro.
It's going to be an amazing fight.
I can't.
Yeah, but here's the thing, homie Ricky. I would just say this. Look, over the weekend, we got to see another fighter that was on the up and up. His name was Felix Cash, right? I'm not too sure if you guys saw it, but Felix Cash. Huh?
Yeah, I saw that fight with Felix.
Okay, he fought. Yeah, he was a very good up and comer. There was some noise being made about him over there in the UK. He fought Tyler Denny over the weekend for 16 fights. Felix Cash was undefeated. He was skillful enough to win a lot of his fights by technical knockouts and by points. Rarely ever was he really, full-fledged knocking out people, but he was stopping them. He was just getting the TKOs, right? And then Eddie Hearn, for whatever reason or another, he just didn't give him any action. For between December of 2022 until just this year, the 22nd of June 2024, for over a year and a half, he never let him fight. He ended up fighting Tyler Denny, the champion for the Commonwealth title over there in Britain, 18-2, 3 draws. He got, if I'm not mistaken, he got stopped. Right? Technical TDU. I guess maybe he no. He ended up going the whole fight, and it was technical and a draw. I don't know, whatever. But he lost, right? Now, when you think about a fighter like Juan Francisco Estrada, you do have to realize layoffs matter.
Yeah,
it's gonna affect Devin Haney when it comes back. It's gonna affect Ryan Garcia when he comes back. It doesn't matter if you've been training. It doesn't matter if you've been sparring, right? Because the glare of the lights, the commotion of the crowd.
I don't mean to interrupt, but is there a debate going on, bro, between Trump and Biden?
Yeah. There is. What about it?
No, I usually like these little debates, man.
I don't care. The way that I see it's like, pick your poison.
Yeah, right? But it don't matter if you pick your poison. You just told me about 10 minutes ago that you wanted a Latino or a Mexican to take.
And are these guys Latinos? Are these guys Latinos?
Biden and Trump? What are you talking about, man?
But are these guys Latinos?
Truly Trey goes, absolutely. I'm watching it right now. I don't care.
Oh, hey, let me ask you, Truly Trey, good evening for to you. Let me ask you something. Who's winning?
You guys can impact whether or not you and me tomorrow have to go to World War V, World War IV. You get what I'm saying? World War III. They're the ones that get to tell us, hey, man, you want to be American? You got to strap this arm and this flag to your chest and boom, represent. You know what I'm saying? Which, all in fair and fair, that's our duty as Americans if push comes to shove. But I'm just trying to tell you that it's important. I wonder if I can play this unless they're going to strike me down. I want to
Truly Trey answers my question, homie Ricky. Truly Trey answered my question. I asked who's winning, obviously sarcastic because this is not a boxing match. And he said nobody is winning. And you know what? That's 100% true.
Let me see. Where can I can't watch it on CNN, PBS. Let's see.
Mr. Vince Vargas, man. I have 4 rounds to 3. Trump is on the up, is on power punches. Biden is pillow fighting. Just kidding. Yeah. So you know what? Okay. You know what? I guess. I guess you're right. I guess presidential debates are important. I guess you do want to catch it. I guess Truly Trey, he says he's absolutely watching it. Mr. Vince Vargas is interested in this. You know what? I have been ignorant about politics and world affairs for a while now. We've been very focused on boxing. I guess we can catch up on world affairs and governance and who's gonna destroy our country faster than the other guy. Yeah, I guess we could give it a few minutes, or we can watch Golden Boy Fight Nights. Homie Ricky, uh, our listeners have commented. Hey, greetings from Washington D.C. Addy Meddy, good evening to you. We have an insider.
Oh my goodness, bro. This dude, bro. This guy is a jack of all trades. And one day he's coding and deciphering, binary code for Mark Zuckerberg. Today, he's an oppressor, one of the moderators. The next day, oh my goodness, bro. He's in Salinas. Let me just try to read these anecdotes. Man, what the flip? I guess it's about to end because I guess they're already on their closing statements. But yeah, man, I usually like listening to these because to your point, yeah, they're two of the same coins, one end of the spectrum and stuff, but they still got to answer to Congress. Yeah, I get it, but still, it's sometimes really important to hear these things. Look, man, I'm not necessarily saying that I'm a big fan of one or the other. To your point, I do agree with your guys' statement that but I always look at it like this, right? And I'm gonna say this, man. I'm gonna blame the youth. We are at fault that we can't anoint another young Barack Obama-like president. And also, what I mean by that is like the 40-year-olds of the world. I think the age is 42 or 44 that you can run for president. Might be even 35. I don't even know. But they have to run for president, man. You see, it's almost like it's not cool to know politics. When I think it's extremely cool to be very political. You know what I'm saying? All of these presidents have, they're like 60, 70, 80 years old. They're not in the loop. Bro, we need some fresh ideologies and ideals in here to kind of like reshape the way we have to think. Like, I don't know. Let me see. Let me give you like a candidate. And I'm not talking about movie actors like Dwayne The Rock Johnson running for president or Aquaman or any other things. I'm not talking
Homie Ricky, let's just do it. Change the channel, go on the live, and let's get this video struck down. Let's just hear 5 minutes of some.
But where? I'm trying to put like CNN and they don't have it. I'm trying to put NBC.
Why don't you put Tim Pool? Maybe Tim Pool is doing it.
Tim Pool?
Yeah.
Hold on. I think I might have found out NBC. I should have just done Fox. But yeah, man, it's just like I just feel like a lot of these young-ish people that have good experience, they need to run in there, man, and be political. Like, don't get me wrong, it's like Trump is cool, I guess, for 75 years old, but why didn't Trump run when he was 40? Oh, the dude was busy, clowning on Rosie O'Donnell on the Trump show or whatever. Why didn't you run it when people cared about you? Like Kurt Cobain was like, oh, dude, why do you have to wait 40 years after that?
Some people don't have the calling, homie Ricky. Some people don't have the calling, right?
Calling.
Yeah, they don't have the calling at that moment. Not everybody is discontent with how politics are run all the time, right? Only when people start seeing change or they become discontent to the point that they involve themselves to the point that they even want to consider running for president or getting involved in governance, even locally. That's when they decide. Maybe Trump was just too happy being detached from it. I mean, recall his best friend, John F. Kennedy Jr. He ran for president, or was running for president, and then what happened to him?
Yeah, man,
his plane went down 5 minutes from his house. Yeah, maybe he sees that and he's like, man, I don't want to run for president. I want to fly an airplane without it crashing mysteriously, right?
Sorry, dude. I don't mean to laugh while you're talking. It's just ID Manny, bro. His jokes, bro. Truly Trey goes, absolutely. I'm watching it right now. Yeah, I'm kind of interested in the debate, says Vince. Nobody is winning. I have 4 rounds to 3. Trump is on the power punches. Biden is pillow fighting. I want to watch, but I have you guys on my phone and the zone on my Xbox.
Yeah, that's me.
East Coast ID. Just got done taking a nap with Sleepy Joe.
That's
bro.
me, bro. That's me, bro. I'm Vince. I'm Vince right now.
You're gonna have to
I'm
watch the
going
debate
live
later
on the
on
phone.
YouTube.
I got live on the phone and I'm watching this the zone on the Xbox. Like, man, me and Vince, we think alike. Yeah, no, you know what, homie Ricky, look for Tim Pool. See if we can just go on there and just listen to some stuff.
Tim Pool.
Yeah, he's a libertarian. Like most people, he's starting to become more of a conservative uh, sponsor of Republican type thinking. Because that's usually how it happens, right? One side gets into politics to screw up the country, then the next guy starts getting in there because of how bad in disarray they left the country from the other political party, and then everybody switches from Republican, Democrat, which is really the way it should be, right? You shouldn't
That's
be
how it
a
should be. Correct.
yeah, it should be. You should follow what's necessary, not
I think it
follow.
ended, bro. I think the debate ended.
Really?
I don't know. I'm on Fox News right now, and they're not even live streaming. Wait, are you guys? Let me see. Yo, guys, Vince. Did the debate end or like? I'm just trying to find it. All right, they don't have it on. It was way past Biden's bedtime. I'm gonna tell you this, bro. I'm gonna tell you guys this. Okay, I'm gonna tell you guys this, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. I love my veterans, right? War soldiers, and I think there was. I don't even know how the Republicans can side with Trump when it comes down to it. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, man. I would like to think that I am a Republican. I feel like I'm pretty traditional, but to you guys, is to Speed's point, I do kind of flip flop, from like Democrat and to Republican. I'm not gonna say that I'm a conservative or liberal. It's none of that. But I would like to. I do flip flop a lot. Like sometimes I'm like, I agree with this. Oh, I agree with that. Whatever. But ideally, like I'm mostly kind of traditional, very basic, you know. But Trump said some stuff. Let me put it up so you guys can know exactly. Trump on our veteran soldiers. And basically like called them dumb. And he was bashing our military, I don't know, years ago. And then Sleepy Joe, for whatever it's worth, just on Memorial Day, like he was there on Labor Day and just honoring our soldiers. Even though people were like, oh man, he must have pooped on his diaper or whatever the case may be. At least he never like talked smack about them. And it's one of those things that this is one of my biggest gripes in this country is that we penalize our people for getting sick. And when I mean our people, I'm talking about Americans. Our healthcare system, like we don't take good care of our elderly. We don't respect our elderly, and and we penalize them. We punish them excessive, medication. It's like, no, bro. Like that's who we should be helping out the most. You guys get what I'm saying? So I just hate the disrespect when it comes down to those shits, bro. Like that's the biggest gripe, and that's the only type of like president or anybody that I want to see just be like, dude, we got to take care of our elderly. It's not about putting them in debt. It's about fucking caring for them. You know what I mean? But let me see. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to find that quote. He doesn't like our military at all, and he doesn't care about our veterans. Wait, hold on. What are we talking about here? What is this?
Oh God, did Panama beat the U.S.?
Man, I don't know what's going on with our Copa America, man. There's a lot of upsets. Damn, I can't find that quote.
Wow,
You guys remember that
Panamanians
quote?
are dirty. Yo, yeah, there you go, America.
Or
I
Yeezy. Hold
think
on. I'm
they
trying to find
lost.
those statements, but I guess I can't. This was 2020. Trump on this the Atlantic. Man, I haven't read the Atlantic.com, but the Atlantic states Americans who died in war are losers and suckers. This is what Trump said, written by Jeffrey Goldberg. I know they're gonna make me pay for this article. Fuck, I missed the Atlantic though. When President Donald Trump canceled a visit to Aisne-Marne American Cemetery near Paris in 2018, he blamed rain for the last-minute decision, saying that the helicopter couldn't fly and that the Secret Service wouldn't drive him there. Neither claim was true. Trump rejected the idea of the visit because he feared his hair would become disheveled in the rain, and because he did not believe it important to honor American war dead. According to four people with firsthand knowledge of the discussion that day. In a conversation with senior staff members on the morning of the scheduled visit, Trump said, why should I go to a cemetery? It's filled with losers. In a separate conversation on the same trip, Trump referred to the more than 1,800 Marines who lost their lives at Bellew Woods as suckers for getting killed. I don't know about you guys, bro, but I can't ever respect that shit.
Yeah, but you know what, homie Ricky?
It irks me, bro, and it irks me, bro.
Look,
oh my goodness.
Yeah, but you know what, homie Ricky? It's like this, right? Okay.
Whoa, hold on.
Did he really say that?
Shit, bro. Like, excuse me. There's a couple of moments that's the biggest thing, bro. Like,
well, again, what I'm trying to say before you get all sentimental and stuff like that and offended, you have to understand. Did he really say that? Stop getting so ridiculous. Did he really say that? Did he really say that? You have to ask yourself, did CNN, MSNBC, and all of these conglomerates owned by the same people, did they instruct those reporters to take these anonymous people, these sources that never identified themselves, that obviously were quote unquote insiders, always following Trump everywhere? Did he really say that? Because I remember I've seen, and most recently, I've seen a lot of different news reports about things that were said about Trump, that he was over here when he was in fact over there, when he was saying this when in fact he never said it, that is coming to light. Why? Because now the mass media, the powers that be, people have caught on to the lies so much that now they're seeking alternative sources of information. And guess what? Some of these alternative sources of information have been keeping tabs and receipts for the longest time, but because they were always denigrated to the outskirts of news reports, belittled by the powers that be, like Alex Jones, one of my heroes, because he's been keeping tabs. Guess what? All of a sudden, when it's proven that what he was saying for decades on has become truth and verifiable,
listen,
all of a sudden they start going back into his receipts, and then they find out, guess what? The media
you only
has
like
been lying
Alex
about
Jones
Trump for so
because
much.
he talked about lizard people, and he came out on that film by Richard Linklater. You know what I'm talking about. That's when you became a fan of Alex Jones. Don't lie to me, man.
No. I became a fan of Alex Jones.
What's the name of
when
the
I
movie?
was
Loving Wake or something like that? Walking Wake?
Waking Life. No.
That's your favorite film.
How is it my favorite film? I never got to see it. My favorite film for the longest time was Superbad, and I think it was probably still my only favorite film because I never get to see any other movies. I never have time for them. But listen, I once listened to Alex Jones when I was about 15, 16 years of age. I was misbehaving, ditching school. My father took me out of school for a couple of months so that I can travel the United States delivering, whatever merchandise he was delivering as a semi-trucker, as a owner-operator, right? And I remember this day clearly. We were headed en route to Arizona, and we were driving down south. And remember, we stopped by somewhere down south, in one of those cities in Los Angeles. I don't know nothing about Los Angeles. I just know that once you go down south and there's a bunch of cities compiled together, all of that thing to me is just Los Angeles, right? But we ended up stopping somewhere, and we made it very early to some city that it was a city. I remember, maybe it was Phoenix, maybe it was Chandler. I don't know what it was, but I remember that when I walked there, when we arrived there, there was nothing around. And I said, how is this a city, Dad? He goes, oh, if you drive down there 5 miles, you can't see it right now because it's flat. But if you go down there It's a bigger city, and little by little, they're starting to develop these areas here and there, and lo and behold, Phoenix, Chandler, Mesa, all of those places, Scottsdale, all of those things have grown over the past 30 years. Then all of a sudden, you can't tell one place from the next. But I remember driving over there, and it
Yeah.
just seemed desolate. Now, this is the thing that impressed me. When I was driving, and it must have been about 12:30, 1:30 in the morning, there was nothing to listen to, right? Except these little AM radio stations. And I heard Alex Jones talking about conspiracy, talking about assassinations of presidential candidates, talking about JFK, talking about aliens, talking about all those things that seemed outlandish, talking about CIA reports, wars, wars that were founded on conspiracies, about Pearl Harbor being something that the Americans already knew was going to take place, and they allowed it to happen in order for them to become involved in World War II and drop the nukes. I remember when he was talking about the thing in Tongan, what was it called? Whatever it was, where they said that a ship was attacked by the Vietnamese, and that was their excuse to go into Vietnam. I remember he was talking about all of these things at breakneck speed, and he sounded like a madman. But when you were 14, 15 years of age, and you've never heard anything like this, homie Ricky, you can't not become fascinated, right? And impressed.
Yeah, no,
And
of
when
course.
people called him a madman,
Look,
they
Alex Jones, I'm not gonna
he's
lie
a
to you.
hero.
Yeah, he's I mean, I'm not gonna call him a hero because
Absolutely is.
you know when he was being sued, he backtracked. Like he didn't stand on business. He was like, I'm playing a character. Hey folks, I'm playing a character. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
okay.
Like,
So
listen,
there we go.
listen,
Oh,
bro,
okay. Let's
I
just say
understand why
30
he
years,
actually did
everything
that.
is crap because he lied once.
I don't know about lied once. All I'm gonna say is like if you
Oh, God,
measure
man,
your
come on.
words, if you measure your words carefully, there's always to a point that you never have to backtrack or necessarily apologize. You see what I'm saying? Like to Adi Medi's point right here, bro. Alex Jones sold me some shit for hair loss that didn't work. Turns out I had cancer. Obviously, he had some dark humor. He's joking, you know. This fucking guy is funny, bro. Like, oh my goodness, dude. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to be dishonest. If you believe in aliens, which I'm sure, like, 80% of the people in the world do, you don't ever have to be like, I don't know, man. I just feel like when it comes down to certain topics and certain things, you can stand on business and just keep preaching the good word to preach. You don't have to
Look, homie
backtrack
Ricky,
and be
look.
like, "Oh, I'm playing a character, folks." Like, nah,
No,
man, it's all right.
look. Okay,
It's all right.
look. It's all freedom of speech. And he's the only person that's been censored and
No,
removed from almost every single
my guy,
social
freedom of
media
speech
venue.
does not mean that it goes freedom of without consequence.
No, no, no. Of course
You
not.
say some
But
crazy shit, boom, I can punch you in your mouth. You
of
can do
course, I
that.
get
You
that.
feel me?
Of course, I get that. And in
All
fact,
right.
that's happened a lot to Alex Jones.
Well,
He's walking. He's gone to restaurants where people all of a sudden pour beer on him or try to start fights with him and everything because there is. But he's never changed what he said. And you're gonna say that because he once said that perhaps the murder of school children may have been an orchestrated government event allowed by the government to take place in order to take away your guns. Guess what? For the most part, they do that, right? The government has always concealed and had all these other things that they've done. They've poisoned us. They forced this vaccine on us that now
yeah.
they've admitted makes it creates myocardiac issues on the men. 35-year-old men are having heart attacks, right? They've have taken the Tuskegee experiments and they've sequestered black men and they have tortured them with chemicals and experimental drugs in Tuskegee, Alabama. Do we forget that? Do we forget that they're the ones that created the Mockingbird This not feign ignorance here. Our government, as much
Of
as we
course.
wanted to do good, they are, for the most part, despicable individuals with a lot of power that have so much power and leeway to get away with whatever they want because they create the rules that they experiment with us like if we were puppets, like if we
Right.
were guinea pigs.
Correct. No, no. What you're saying is obviously true and historically accurate, and those things do happen, and they're continuing to happen. Right. Noam Chomsky talked about it in his book Manufacturing Consent. There's been some Irish filmmakers that filmed this documentary called The Revolution Will Not Be Televised. Right. So of course there's these things, right, that they like, to your point, they censor and things of that. But all you have to say is, well, in terms of Alex Jones's position, he can fly out there with a drone or a film crew and document that event. If he's talking in regards to, I believe you might be referring to Sandy Hook, um, the incident, or you can always say allegedly, folks, and then you can say, like, the government has always been lying to us. You can reference those examples that you stated, and then you'd be like, I believe it's happening. Look at these same pictures that of this lady, of these paid actors that are there doing X, Y, and Z just so they can strip away our gun, our gun rights, our AK-47s, our AR-15s. You know what I mean? Whatever the case may be. You see what I'm saying? There's, again, if you phrase your sentences and you're really meticulous, I'm not saying that you're censoring your words, but just in case that that you're hitting on and you're attacking the powers that be and going after them, right? And instead of making you look like a madman, and then they can sue you for defamation and slander, essentially all you can probably say, allegedly, folks, allegedly. Right. And then I'm not saying that that's going to give you a pass and you can go on and say the craziest stuff ever, but you can kind of, use circumstantial evidence to deduce certain reasonings of why you think this way, and then to investigate, you start building a movement, and then you do it properly. So, but he was being irresponsible. You see, irresponsible. He was being, I want to say, like, to a point, unprofessional, right? And to these, point, he was selling them freaking fake products. There's promising certain things.
Look,
Well, bro,
homie Ricky. Okay, so let me
it's
ask you
out of my
something.
head, bro. That shit was
Look,
funny. Oh my goodness,
so
man.
when
Uh,
so
Excuse
when
me.
a magician does his jokes, I mean, when a magician performs his magic,
Yeah.
should he tell everybody, "Hey, I'm a faker, guys. I'm not really a magician. There is no such thing as magic," right? Should he do that? Here's the thing, right?
Hold on. But whoa,
When
hold
Alex
on.
Jones says,
That's
"I am
consequently.
nothing
You
but a
can't say that.
performer," what is the? That's the perfect thing to say. I am nothing but a performer. Why? Because he can get away with reporting a lot of things that otherwise people would think is fake and ignore, which they for the most part did for the past 25 years before he became relevant, before he became the news of the day, not because of everything that he got right. Remember, he was the guy that reported 8 months or maybe up to a year before September 11th, 2001 happened, before the Twin Towers were attacked. He's the one that said there was reports that this was going to happen. He reported that. People seem to forget that he's been right about about 80%, 90% of all things that he stated. It's been
Wow.
evidenced. It's been reported. The stuff that he talked about 10 years ago is being talked about now. The stuff that he was talking about 20 years ago has become proven fact. And just because he says he's a performer, which is really a type of defense, right? Which is the perfect defense, because guess what? That's what people thought he was for the longest time when they ignored him. They thought he was a performer. It was, in fact, the perfect mask to put on in order to tell the truth to the wise ones, the ones that gave him a chance, the ones like you who kept an open mind. That right now you said you were a flip flopper, which I think is just a person that keeps an open mind and informs themselves and changes as a result. A flip flopper is a term used to make people that ran for politics, like John Kerry, look like they're unreliable. But the fact of the matter is, homie Ricky, a flip flopper really means a person whose opinion changes once they become informed and acquainted with facts that no longer allow them to continue their same way of thinking, right? All of a sudden, everybody's a conspiracy theorist. And the original conspiracy theorist has been sued for $1.2 billion because why? Because he killed kids? Because he allowed them to get killed? No, no, because he said a lot of things that the powers that be find disagreeable. They want to crush him financially. They want to censor him so that nobody hears the truth. He is reporting things that will happen and are happening now. And I disagree with anybody attacking that guy on account that he said that he believes the government would allow attacks on children to go on solely to strip you of your God-given Second Amendment rights.
Yeah, no, look, man. When it comes down to Alex Jones, yeah, dude, I'm a fan of him, man. So there's not, I'm not gonna always take his word for gospel. I always like to do my own research. Use my own search engines and people that I usually find reliable. I'm not gonna lie to you, El Pachuco. I really don't know who Jimmy Dore is, but I am a big fan of Jon Stewart. I'm not too sure if Jimmy Dore is like a comedian, like satire that kind of makes fun of the establishments or certain agenda-based programming, whether it's Fox or NBC or whatever. But I don't really know who Jimmy Dore is, man. Do you know? Do you know who that is? Speed. He's doing a quick Google search to
No,
find
no,
out.
no, 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 no. Jimmy Dore. A lot of the times, whenever you follow, presenters like Alex Jones and the guy who was the advisor for Donald Trump. I can't forget what his name is. He's the guy with the great, incredible hair. I forget what his name. Steve Bannon. When you follow Alex Jones, Steve Bannon, and men of that ilk, then you start running into names such as Jimmy Dore. I believe they're around the same kind of presenter, people that present what most people consider alternative facts or alternative news, right? But I've
I
never
love
had
that.
the opportunity to listen to him. Listen, guys, when I tell you that I don't follow politics, it really boils down to that. I really don't. And whenever I do, I always listen to Alex Jones. That's really, I'm telling you the honest
I
truth.
used to,
I get my news straight from the source. Like he says, we don't report when other people lie to you about today's news. We tell you the truth about tomorrow's news. That's his slogan. And what can I say, guys? I like to know the future because sometimes the current is so crappy, right?
for me, it was for me. I loved the Daily Show with Jon Stewart, and I loved reading The Atlantic.
Mhm.
The Atlantic, not so much NPR because every time I'd go online, the articles were always short. I think they're mostly like podcast based. But I loved reading The Atlantic, and I loved the Daily News. And then now everything you gotta be subscribed, bro. Everything is subscription based, so they'll let you read like maybe half or three paragraphs before you're like, oh, you need to subscribe to read the rest of the article. And I'm like, man, what happened?
Yeah.
But I mean, I understand just for like subscriber base and for the search engines to make their money on the back end. Like I understand it, but it's just that like like I've always said, I'm very frugal and I'm very what you may call it, not like traditional, but like very conservative in terms of my pockets and like what I research. So, but I used to love Bill Moyers and Company.
Mhm.
Man, Bill Moyers and Company, I would love listening to their interviews. Man, I used to read all these books, man. I don't even know what happened, and I just became a bum and started talking boxing. Fuck,
Yeah. True, 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 true. I have literally,
man.
I have some of the most incredible books, right? Because I was a well-read individual. I am a linguist. I won't get into it. What I do, what I've done before, using the power of the words and especially the written word. But I can tell you this, right? I'm a very good writer. I'm a very good argumenter. I'm not so much debater because I really don't. But if I need to make an argument, I can make it. I just don't really care too much to confront another individual and a dialogue, right, of a difference of opinion. But I can argue my opinion well, right? But as a result of that, I am or have been in the past a well-read individual, and I do have a very interesting library of books. Right, I have very rare books. I have books on a lot of different subjects, and there's some of not the more general books. I have perhaps for every single topic a more generalized approach towards the topic, and then I have like the hardcore ones, the one that is just focused on one thing, and if you read that, then you'll basically understand everything else if you read it well enough. But long story short, I have a library of books, just like I have a library of vinyl records. I have about, I don't know, 10,000 vinyl records. I collect things, right? Basically, what I'm trying to say. And I have abandoned those interests because of things that have otherwise occupied my time, like boxing and this community, and also low riding and repairs of low rider vehicles, right? And that's okay, homie Ricky. We all change. Back then, you were younger. You had more interest in educating yourself, getting your degrees, getting your diplomas, getting your experience, and what you wanted to approach as your profession or your personal development, your personal growth. But reality struck. You now have a lady. I believe she is your wife. Now you are preoccupied with helping me fix older vehicles. You have a 1960 El Camino that you're trying to at least convert, right? They take up time. They take up money. You have a couple of pooches. You have puppies that are so adorable, right? And you also are a very caring individual towards him, and you walk him and you do all kinds of stuff. You have a wonderful mother and a father. Right now, my mother is sickly. You spend time with her. I do too. We have fighting children. In your case, fighting nephews. There's things that occupy our minds. So if you abandon some of those things, it's just because priorities change, right? This is life. This is life.
Yeah, man. No, it's true. It's just I feel like I should be prioritizing that. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
no, it's okay. Listen, before look,
That
we have a
deviated.
new listener. We have a gentleman by the name of Paul. He says, shout out from El Chuco, uh, Texas, from El Paso. Yeah, yeah, good even fall to you, Paul. Thank you very much for joining us on this year live. We've been talking all kinds of stuff, man. We've just what have we been talking about, homie Ricky? We've been talking about the shenanigans, chicanery of young Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. We talked about how knowing how boxing is because of all the proliferation of reports and sites that report on boxing. We've now no longer have this innocent view about the sport, and we long for the days that yes, we were ignorant, but we just cared about the fights and not so much the politics or the men, right? That has changed. But I think the approach that we take, Paul, and thank you very much for giving us a chance, is that we are insiders in the sport of boxing. We have been fighters. We are, in my case, a father of a fighter. We are now looking at the sport from all angles, from the fan, the person involved with trying to manage their son's fighting career, and the consideration of every other fighter and fight style because we get to face him personally. So, of course, we leave and abandon our differences. We don't cap on race. We don't ignore greatness because people are of other colors, creeds, nations, or otherwise. And as a result of that, you can probably expect us to give every fighter a chance without being too critical, trying to understand them as a fighter, but also a businessman and a person that's trying to leave a legacy in the sport. Right here, we really care about the sport, our fighters, and we invite you to join us more often and comment. We have incredible individuals like El Pachuco, which I believe is also from Texas. Maybe he can let you know if he cares for it to introduce himself and let you know a little more about him. I won't divulge any information, but we do have gentlemen like Mr. Vince Vargas, who I believe he's still in that phase where he just looks at the sport without getting too carried away with the politics, and he just says, you know what, I just like good trancazos. And I think we also have Adi Medi, who I believe is one of the best assets to the sport of boxing, and we're lucky to have him here because that guy right there is a perfect wrench for my channel and for the homie Ricky's. He's absolutely welcoming, but he's incredibly hilarious. That guy's funny.
Yeah,
So
man. The
welcome to Paul.
Mexican G, El Pachuco, and Adi Medi, bro. Man, dude, probably the funniest dudes I've ever encountered on the YouTube, especially in the boxing forums, man. It's just fucking funny, dude.
No, we have
Yeah,
great
these
people, man.
one-liners, bro, like they're closers. You know, they have closing lines. It's fantastic that, you know, you and me can ramble on for like 4 hours. These guys can eloquently just state it in one sentence and just be like, that's a bar. That's a bar. That's a bar. It's just
Yeah,
fantastic, man.
yeah.
But yeah, man. Look, guys, we talked a little bit about everything on Golden Boy and on the Zone. Darius Fulgham is fighting Vaughn Alexander, so I'm very intrigued to see how this goes. Um, but yeah, man, you know, Vaughn Alexander is kind of like that Darnell Boone, Gabe Rosado, where they're just fighting guys like Sergey Derenchenko, back-to-back fighters, tough fights that are usually undefeated contenders. And this dude, Vaughn Alexander, just continues to go the distance with them and give them a good taste of, you know, what it means. You know, they're basically Heimdall from, you know, the movie Thor. That he's the person that, you know, he's the gatekeeper of the portals in the universe and stuff. Vaughn Alexander's that dude. But I don't know if you're watching the fight, Speed, but Darius Fulgham, he don't look that good, man. I don't know. I mean, I know that he's still a prospect. If I'm not mistaken, he started the pro game pretty late. But I don't know, man. It just could be to that credit of Vaughn Alexander. He's just very crafty and then knows how to give these young prospects a good run for the money and always, you know, give them a different look to withstand and go the distance in all of these fights. But are you watching the fight or nah?
So unfortunately, homie Ricky, my Xbox is taking a poop. Um, I don't know why exclusively for the Zone. It tells me that I don't have any storage to update the app, right? And every other app works fine, but when it comes to the Zone, it's just taking a poop. It gives me about 30 minutes of activity, and all of a sudden the Zone just doesn't want to operate. So yeah, I've been missing the last few fights. Um, and it's unfortunate, right? Because I wanted to report on these things, but yeah, no. So it doesn't really surprise me because, like I said, Darius Fulgham. When the last seen him, look, I know that Golden Boy made a big hype about him, but he didn't look like a standout fighter for me. He looked like another good-looking individual who had some skills, and because of his looks and his skills, he might just get some notoriety, get some recognition, but he didn't look like, you know, somebody like I don't know, like what's the kid's name that I'm very high on? Steven Navarro. He didn't look like him. He didn't look like anything special, just another good-looking tough fighter. It's ridiculous, actually. The Zone is now not even working for me at all. Wow, that's ridiculous. Eddie Medi says, if Trump becomes president, I will make sure that he makes boxing great again. Yeah. Well, you know what, Eddie Medi, I think Turkey Ali Sheik has tried that. And in fact, it's harder to make boxing great again by deporting Turkey Dallas Sheiks. Wow.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
bro. Arriba el Chuco. Saludos. Yeah. I think you know what, homie Ricky? El Chuco is an old term You don't know nothing about Chicanismo. You don't know, and that's okay because your generation was not raised on the legacy of the Chicano movement, right? So you don't know
What do
really
you
like
mean,
the
man?
his.
I've seen Stand and Deliver.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you've seen Blood In, Blood Out, right? Yeah, yeah. But
That's
what I'm
right,
saying
man.
is that um, the Chicano movement has really been relegated to the appearance of it, right? To creasing up your dickie so you're Ben Davis, to putting on your lokes and otherwise. But I remember when I was still young and watching these Chicanos, they were, working in the fields, striking in the fields. They were walking out of schools because of the segregation, the discrimination, the lack of funds being distributed to schools that were more voluminous and student numbers, and therefore they were getting an inferior quality of education, even though the population was greater in numbers. So thereby their tax money was being relocated to more wealthy neighboring communities. These people were standing up for their rights, right? And a lot of the things that I always, a lot of the times that I try to remind people of what the Chicano movement was about, and I apologize for the following terms, it was la chinga, la lucha, right? We needed something to fight against. We needed an injustice. The the American that has Mexican blood, they are feisty individuals. And when there is nothing to fight, we become complacent, right? And we need to find something to fight. We need to have an injustice, right? And without it, we may no longer find that purpose for ourselves. We start abandoning the connection to the Aztec blood. We stop caring about involving ourselves in political movements, and like the Mexican chief stated when we were discussing a little while back, concepts such as aslan and things of that sort. Those things require lucha, huelga. They require a level of strife, and I think maybe that's the reason why boxing is very popular in the Mexican American, American of Mexican descent, and Chicano movement, right? Because it gives us something to fight. We need to fight. And
Yeah,
Narimedi says,
man.
if we become president, I'll make sure that. Oh my God! Yeah, look. Okay, Speed. Do you lean like a cholo wherever you go? Oh man, come on! I wear skinny jeans. Homie Ricky, uh, Adi Medi brought up something real quick. I just wanted to address it real quick. He talked about Turkey Dallas Cheeks. Of course, I prefer to call him His Excellency Turkey Ali Sheik. And
His Excellency.
well, that's what people call him in his native country. I like to be as uh, respectful of people's titles whenever I can, if I can, right? But Turkey Ali Sheik, right? He's most recently been known for having chastised the WBA, right, on account of how he it was upset that they were forcing Canelo Alvarez to defend against William Scully when his objective, he says, we have been trying to make Canelo versus Crawford fight. And I'm thinking to myself, Turkey, who are you? Who are you to tell these sanctioning bodies what to do? Like, you're upset that they did not allow you to present this fight, and thereby they're gonna strip Crawford of a belt, or Canelo of a belt, right? So I think when Adi Medi says that he would like to make boxing great again, when we had the hope that Turki Ali Sheik would make boxing great again, I think we're starting to see that might not be the case, homie Ricky.
Nah, man. I mean, look, there is this NBA coach. He's from the Boston Celtics. And there was an interview, or there was an interviewer, this female, I guess probably from the UK, and she was like, "Have you had an opportunity to meet the royal family?" And the NBA Boston Celtics coach, you mean Mary Jesus and forgot who was the other guy he referenced. And then she was like, "No, I'm talking about the whoever the UK says that's the royal family, right?" And he goes, "No, sorry, I don't acknowledge them as a royal family. There's only one, like Mary, Jesus, and Paul, right?" So that's the same thing with Turkey al-Sheikh. It's like, I'm not gonna call him my excellency, as I wouldn't. I'm sure he doesn't call President Trump my president. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would I call Turkey al-Sheikh my excellency? What thing has he done that's excellent in terms of our sport, the sport of boxing, that I can't call Oscar the Lawyer my excellency? You get what I'm saying? Like, why do you give that man so much respect, bro?
Well, because he was for the most part doing great things for the sport of boxing, homie Ricky, right?
Yeah, giving us Anthony Joshua versus the UFC head fighter, right?
Yeah, and it's only an appellation. It's only an appellation, right? To call him His Excellency would be the same thing as calling, Prince Williams or Prince William or whatever a prince. You wouldn't just walk up to the guy and be like, hey, Will, hey, Bill, right? No, it's just a sign of respect. And one thing that I do say, homie Ricky, is that I like to show respect, right? Whenever I can, right? So I mean, I'm not gonna walk up to Donald Trump and say, "Hey, Donnie, what's the haps?" Right? It's
What's the
men
haps?
that what's
Yo,
the
what's
haps? Yeah, what's cracking lacking or whatever. I'm not gonna do that. But it's just His Excellency, His Presidency, whatever. No big deal, man.
I mean, I don't know. I just feel like, look, I'm all for respect, but it's just like these titles nowadays, they're a little outlandish, If I'm Tyson Fury and I'm getting paid 150 million for the Usyk fight, yeah, I'm gonna call him my excellency. Like, bro, thank you, dude. You're forking over 150 mil. Thank you. Then you'd be like, but for a boxing fan, an outsider like us, we don't gotta call him his excellency unless he proves that he's extremely excellent, and be like, oh fuck yeah, dude, this dude is the pioneers, the new revelation of the sport of boxing. Where we're going now is because of him. You know what I mean? Into the future, like until he says that, but dude, he's giving us like his foot in the door was KSI and Logan Paul and Jake Paul and all of these like fights that we don't care about. You see what I'm saying?
Well,
Like,
you see, you don't care about him, but I do. I like those kind of stuff.
I know you cared about that. You were a big component of Misfits and stuff like that. But,
whoa! No, look. It's family fun, right? My son and I, we watch Misfit fights. What happened now? What happened now?
Nah, man, it's just it's just some it's nonsense. As we're talking, yeah, it's not important.
Yeah.
Keep going, you're good, bro.
Yeah, no, and that's just it. It's an appellation, no big deal. Eddie Medi says, "Oh, I get it now. Turkey da las cheeks, como da las nalgas el cochino." Oh, okay, yeah, okay, I get. Man, Eddie Medi, where do you get these one-liners from, man? I swear, he's the Ronnie Dangerfield of boxing. He comes through with the one-liners, the little play on words, the little puns. That guy's a genius. The Mexican cheese says, "I am back." Good for us, the Mexican. Good to have you here. We just were introduced to another listener, a first-time listener, a new subscriber, a gentleman by the name of Paul. So hopefully we'll be hearing more of him more often. He's giving us a chance. Hopefully we live up through to his expectations. I will say this: today is more of one of those random lives that really didn't really have much of a point when I hopped on, because homie Ricky was already gonna wrap it up, because he had just, like always, he gets to the point, makes some grand uh, allusions to the point that he's making, makes his point incredibly well, and then I just come over here for filler. Right, but nonetheless, for the most part, we always put on, what I am proud to say, excellent lives. Today is more of a fun free for all, and in fact I wanted to address some things, but I guess we'll leave it for another occasion, homie, because I know you're probably like getting tired of listening to me. Arimeri says he'll deport you immediately, which is Oscar de la Hoya, his co-excellency. Ay, ay, ay. Look at that bad hombre. I know what that reference is. That's President Donald Trump. And I'm not too sure what that Mandarin means. But I honestly think I'm annoying, LOL, but I'm bored. Nah, you're not annoying, Eddie. You're actually a very hilarious asset, valuable asset to this here community. Homie Ricky, look.
So Darius Fulgham is fighting, bro,
Yeah.
and I think he's like a nurse or he works at the hospital,
Oh,
a technician or whatever the case may be. And I put money on him to win by knockout. I think he's gonna win by decision. We're in the 5th round, and he just doesn't. I don't know, bro. He's throwing these Peter Pan punches. He's winning the fight, but it's mostly because Vaughn Alexander is just there to cover up, and he just doesn't want to return any fire. When I think if he
wow.
just threw looping shots and some combinations, that he probably would hurt and knock out Darius Vaughn. But yeah, man, Vaughn is just touching. He doesn't really know what to do and throw in terms of like some little simple punches right there. He just keeps throwing this right cross. He doesn't necessarily load up or throw force. It's just like ding, ding, like off a shoulder roll stance, just like a little pot shot. But
Mhm.
we'll see, man. I mean, we'll see. But yeah, let's see. By deporting Turkey, Dallas Cheeks. Dallas Cheeks. A
That
bum
was
bum
cheeks.
Granada by taka 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 taka.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. Come on, let me know what that means, Sadie, because that's
uh,
outside my pay grade.
Man, I don't even know. This guy's, multilingual. This dude, knows so much languages. It's hilarious. But classic, bro, classic. But yeah, folks, I think on that note, man, I think I'm just gonna enjoy these next 4 or 5 rounds of this fight with Vaughn. But yeah, man, I think we covered everything, man. I'm gonna probably try to listen to
Oh my
the
God.
presidential campaign face off between these two candidates. But
Look, don't read the next one. Before you go, don't read the next one, man. This is a family friendly show, Addy. This is family friendly. We got kids here. I'm one of them. No, don't read that one, man. Don't. That's or censor yourself. Censor
Darius
yourself.
Fulgham.
Figure out a funny way to make that work. Oh, hey, I got the zone right now. Good. He is throwing just like. But you know what? Here's the thing, though, homie Ricky. He's in the pocket, right?
They're both in the pocket, yeah. So
Yeah.
when you're in the pocket, do you remember the Robert Guerrero fight versus Victor Ortiz? And they were both in the pocket, but they weren't like throwing a lot of heavy shots. It was like, all right, man, it's just like two drunk uncles in the
Oh
at the
yeah.
barbecue, just
Yeah.
what they could have been. That's
Yeah.
basically Darius Fulgham, but Darius is like probably 10 years. Oh, nice, beautiful left hooks to the body from Vaughn. But it just I don't know, man. I just need to see
Wow. This is some
uh
high level boxing, homie Ricky.
it's not bad. It's not bad.
This is high level
Except
boxing. I
when I'm
mean,
expecting like knockouts, then it's completely quite the opposite. But
yeah, no, look,
yeah,
they're definitely not going for broke. They're not pursuing the knockout. They're opening up, they're posting, they're framing. I like this stuff, but yeah, look, if there is full but if he wants to make himself a star, he has to knock him out. Oh, you know what, guys? I think there's a fight going on in the uh in the
in the
stands.
stands. Oh
Yeah,
shit! I
yeah,
like those,
yeah,
man.
yeah. Ridiculous, man.
You think so? I'm a big fan. I like those.
Hey, Mr. Paul says, shout out to all of California. Much respect. Yeah, California is a beautiful place. Mr. Paul, if you've ever been here, I'm sure you agree. I've never had the opportunity to go visit the great state of Texas, the Lone Star State, but I do have a lot of contracts with a lot of Tejanos, a lot of folks from Texas. And I'll tell you one thing. In my experience, very proper individuals, hardworking individuals, hustlers. Like, man, those guys should be proud of their contributions to this great nation. Texas really is up there with California, and how innovative and how working and how great they contribute to this nation. But yeah, I've worked with a lot of great people from Texas. I have nothing bad to say about them. In fact, um, I can say that right now Texas is doing so many better things than California is, in particular when it comes to taxes and the culture and the traditions of upkeeping the traditions of what made this country great, and conservative. Not trying to say that I'm a dinosaur that is inflexible to change, but the balance of hard work and respect for others without trying to experiment too much with societal norms and expectations, I think is one of the things that really makes Texas stand out from the way that the politicians over here in California are maneuvering. But I will tell you one thing, Mr. Paul, and this is the truth. Um, California is more than just LA and San Francisco and Oakland. I tell you the truth. Everywhere else, we resemble so much. We're so similar to Texas. We are hardworking. We keep our noses clean. We know how to defend ourselves. We're for our first, second, third, fourth, fifth Amendment rights, right? We're religious, but we don't mind if you aren't. We have so much in common. So I know a lot of the only reason I say that is because I know a lot of Texans also do frown upon the Californios, because the word spreads that we're all hippies and communists and just people that fly a colorful flag, and nothing wrong with that. But we are more than that, I assure you. Oh, Orlando Canizales. I think Orlando Canizales, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Paul, I think Orlando Canizales was like, uh, maybe he was a Mexican American Lomachenko. Do you know anything about Orlando Canizales, homie Ricky? He had
Uh,
incredible footwork, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I'm not
yeah,
lying to you. I
the
seen him fight, and he looked a lot like Lomachenko, and he was very aggressive. Incredible footwork. Underrated fighter.
yeah, it's one of those names that it's kind of like a lot of people don't speak about a lot. But if I'm not mistaken, I think he's from Texas, bro.
Yeah, I believe so too. Canizales was definitely a last name that you do see around over there, almost exclusively in Texas, like Trejo and Canales. But yeah, I believe you may be right. But he was, if I'm not mistaken, is that correct, Mr. Paul? Did he have incredible footwork, almost like a Lomachenko? Eddie Medi says goodbye. He says, y'all stay blessed. All right, guys. I'll tune in 2 weeks from now. Have a safe 4th of July. Likewise, you, Eddie Medi. Fierro a la chao. Fierro ALV chao. Yeah. We'll definitely miss you. We can't wait to have you back. Stay blessed. Make sure that you don't play with those unsafe firecrackers. And yeah, have a happy Independence Day, Eddie Medi.
So it's not. It's a la verga. Shout! That's what it goes. Not
Okay, yeah,
ciao.
yeah. I'm a Christian.
He said
I have children
ciao.
here.
Wait, what are you Brazilian, man? He said ciao.
Ciao.
Really
Yeah.
good, bro. Paul says, let me ask you guys a question. Let me ask you guys on your honest opinion on my favorite boxer, Orlando Canizales. Well, to be honest with you, man, I don't know too much about him. You know, um, there's a lot of fighters and a lot of that have a big resume. You know, like I'm not even gonna lie to you. A lot of people like to say that Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. is the greatest Mexican ever, right? Because and everyone talks about 92 and 0. And when you really look at that 92 and 0 record, it's like not quality opponents. You know, again, I can't speak about different times And watching them on YouTube just doesn't do it justice how impactful they can be. But I think out of all of those, I think Juan Manuel Marquez is probably one of the best Mexican fighters all time. Barrera and Morales too, but I would favor Marquez over all of them. Probably Barrera. Barrera for me has a special place. I think he's the best. Again, if you ask the legends, they're always gonna be like, oh no, it's Finito or Salvador Sanchez. They're always gonna never anoint themselves. But for me, I gotta say Juan Manuel Marquez, man. And I'm not saying that Canizales isn't really good. I just don't know the people that he beat. Like if you told me, if I told you his last fight, Frankie Toledo, I'll be like, I don't know who he is, or Richard de Jesus that he fought a couple of times. When you look at the resumes, they're kind of inflated. With Salvador Sanchez, I can only tell you two good fighters that he beat: the Puerto Rican Benitez and Asuma Nelson. But people will anoint him to say that he's one of the greatest Mexicans, and I'm just like, damn, what the hell is that? But I'm just thinking to myself, they don't compare to who Juan Manuel Marquez fought, or even to the point of Marco Antonio Barrera or an Eric Morales, Same thing with the padded record of 92-0. I'm not saying that's not an incredible feat. Of course it is. But, if you look at the names, like, let me see. I don't really know too much about Julio Cesar, his senior, but let me go all the way down to when he was going on that win streak. And I'm sure that he was fighting a lot of badass dudes, But even when he was probably like 74-0, he fought this dude with 4 wins and 3 knockouts. And I'm sure those were just stay busy fights, Ignacio Perdomo, 7-2. Then he had Hector Camacho, 40-1, of course. Frankie Mitchell, 21. Angel Hernandez, 37-0. I'm not saying all of them were filler, but of those 92 fights, they're going to have to be a little bit filler, He beat David Camus, 20, lost to Oscar De La Hoya, that was 21-0. But again, yeah, man. Again, I'm not going to say that they're a little overrated, but quality. But one of the things that I love about the fighters and the legends of the past years is that they always stayed busy. And I wish modern day fighters had a record of 85-2, 104. Like, instead of sparring so much and just fighting 4 times or once or twice a year, fight once every single month, 4 rounders. Even if you're a champion, go do an All-American tour. Go fight in California, a 4-rounder, 6-rounder, just so you can fight with American people. Go fight in Minnesota, a 6-rounder, some soft touches, so just so that you can travel the world and just meet all these people and do like a comedy tour, but a boxing tour all over stateside, and then do so in China. It doesn't always have to be, the Jaime Munguias that are unblemished 42-0 like Canelo. I would love for Canelo to go chase after these legendary records, but just go take 4 or 6 rounders, and then in between fight a real fucking bona fide threat. And I'm just saying that's one thing that I miss about these fighters that they should try to incorporate into modern day. Like Ryan Garcia, don't just fight 1 or twice a year, go fight 10, 15 times in every different state, twice a month. Just go take 4 to 6 rounders. Go take pennies on the dollar, but I'm sure you'll knock these dudes out rather than having these hard ass sparring sessions just to prepare yourself for a Devin Haney or a Teofimo Lopez, whatever. But I don't know. And Pachuco goes, yeah, Canizales had great forward. If I'm not mistaken, his brother was a champion as well. Ricardo Finito Lopez is the most technically skilled boxer that I've ever seen. You know what? Like, that's high praise, man. That's some crazy. Like I like his lateral movement. I'm not going to lie, but the most technically skilled boxer, shit. That's what I'm saying. Like, maybe I just gotta study more.
Check this out. I have good news for Mr. Paul. Now that he brings up, Orlando Canizales. He just actually not that long ago made news, homie Ricky. Apparently he was recognized in the congressional record for his greatness as world champion in boxing. He was canonized in the annals of Congress here in the US of A on November the 16th, 2022, and introduced by Texas Representative Henry Cuellar for being an exemplary citizen and a native son of Laredo, Texas. And it is stated right here that today he rose to recognize Orlando Cañizales, a former boxing world champion and native son of Laredo, who started to box at the tender age of 10 at a local boys and girls club. As an amateur, he went 108 wins, 12 losses. He turned pro in 1984. He became one of the best fighters in the world between 1980s and 90s. And I know I've seen him. I know I've seen him fight because my parents would just watch all of these fights, right? And I know about the footwork because I know I've seen his fights. So in fact, yeah, I am absolutely right. They address the fact that, and this is where they get it right. My favorite fighter, Vasil High-Tech Lomachenko, moved and had the footwork of Orlando Cañizales. You see, a lot of people would say it the opposite way, right? Oh, Cañizales moves a lot like Lomachenko. I believe even I said that, right? But that's just recency bias. But the fact of the matter is that right here they address the fact that Cañizales was really an innovator when it comes to footwork, and he is regarded as having mastered the style that fighters like Lomachenko now take up and assume that they have great footwork, right? So that is amazing that he made it into the congressional record. That in El Pachuco is right. He and his brother were champions in the same weight division, homie Ricky. A
Yeah.
lot like, the Klitschko's. They were both champions at heavyweight, and of course they weren't gonna fight each other. But right here I'm reading this on the report presented on LMT Online for anybody that's interested, and it's titled "Legendary Laredo Legendary Boxer Cañizales Honored by U.S. Congress." It goes through a a a review of his upbringing, his history as a fighter, some of the names that he took on, and in fact, this is the funny thing right here. It says, "I have studied Orlando a lot." Right? He's talking about how the Cañizales hold a world record. For the first time in boxing, the two boxers were world champions at the same weight division as brothers. They were the first ones, homie Ricky. And he says there is a boxer from Ukraine, Vasil Lomachenko, who is extraordinary. He has movements very similar to those of Orlando, and occasionally I get asked the question, who copied who? I think we know. A fighter that fought in the 1980s when Lomachenko was probably not even born yet. I guess we can say that Orlando Cañizales is an innovator. And man, that's good that there's people like Paul that are smart enough to remind us of the fighters from the day of old when we were coming up. Because a person like myself that has a very bad memory, I like to be reacquainted with those great tidbits of history that make me feel blessed to have lived through some of those moments. And speaking of El Pachuco, when he mentions Ricardo Finito Lopez is the most technically skilled boxer that I have ever seen, guess what, homie Ricky? Did you know that he went undefeated for 51 fights?
Yeah. Yeah, no,
51 fights.
I'm aware of their records, man, for sure.
Isn't that a tie with Money Mayweather? Nobody recognizes Finito Lopez.
Yeah, man. But I think
Right.
the difference with Floyd likes to always bring up is like, oh, I did it against 27 titled champions or some shit. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's valid. That's valid. Why
yeah,
not? Right?
that's the only discrepancy. Like, oh, but what you may call it? Yeah, no, man. For me, the most technical boxer I've ever saw was fucking Manos de Piedra Duran, bro. Like when we talk about just like rolling with the punches, the inside fighting game, I thought like to me, I thought like growing up that was like what it meant to be technical in the pocket, rolling with the shots, moving, hitting biceps, uppercutting biceps on the inside, targeting the arms, neutralizing your opponent from being able to pop off. Like I thought that was like Duran shit. Like I thought he was the best technical. But in the technicality, there's so many things. Like then there's the technicality of guys like Finito Lopez, the Mauricio Herreras of the world, even the Miguel Vasquez that don't necessarily have. Yeah, dude, it's very interesting. But yeah, man. Just an update. Darius Fulgham, man. He's going to 10th. This is 10th round. It's a minute 35 left. This is it's not even a sparring session. Like it's a sparring session, but it's like he's doing drilling. You know what I mean? He's posturing with the hands, lead hand, just shifting his weight. And it's just like, man, bro, like, and if you read the comments on the Golden Boy Fight Night, bro, the crowd is just booing and tearing this fight and this performance up, man. It's very unfortunate fight. But the Japanese immortalized Finito Lopez. He is one of their anime characters. You know what? You might be right. That's correct. That's very true.
Wow.
Yeah, so Vaughn. Yeah, he threw a nice 2-1 and he rocked the shit out of Darius Fulgham. But he, Uncle didn't want to let go of his hands, bro. Man. Boom, boom. Wow, it's gonna go the distance.
Yeah, it's gonna go the distance.
Boom, boom. Yeah.
See, he's a very good-looking kid. He's very friendly.
Man, get out of here with that nonsense. It's just that he's just touching.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of Alexander Volstik. It's like, bro, all you doing is touching with these Peter Pan punches. If you put some conviction, like But I'm sure that like Fulgham doesn't have like a steep amateur pedigree or experience. Like he's learning on the job. But come on, man, it can't be a main event. But yeah, man. Look, guys, we talked a lot, man, about a lot of certain topics, kind of all over the place. But yeah, guys, I think I'll wrap it up. Make some coffee, eat some cookies.
That sounds good.
You got any closing statements, bro?
Yeah. Well, listen. I just want to thank every single one of you. El Pachuco, Mr. Vince Vargas, Mr. Paul, Eddie Meddy, the Mexican G, Mr. Vince Vargas, and of course you, the homie Ricky, for the good times, right? For coming over here and spending a little time with us. You could do other things, and you decide to develop a community with us, right? Of people that look forward to fights, that look at these fighters with respect and admiration, that we just want to develop a connection between ourselves because of the passion that we have for this violent organized activity, right? And I would not be a happy enough man if we didn't have this going on. So I just want to thank every single one of you all for joining us here. I hope to do it soon enough with the homie Ricky, and we'll address other topics. Today was just like shoot from the hip. And that's okay. We haven't really had a shoot from the hip episode where we had so many distractions. Here's my wife talking about Costco chicken. Here we had the zone on the tube. I'm here trying to, play, trying to wrestle with my son. We had a lot of distractions, but nonetheless, it was fun and I enjoyed it. And I hope that you guys did also. And I hope to see you guys soon enough again. I wish you all to be well of health and sane of mind. And I wish you a good even fall.
All right. Good night, guys.
Engage.